Everybody, welcome to our 5:01 public hearings at 5:09. Welcome to Tampa City Council. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Miranda.
Here.
Maniscalco. Here. Hurtek. Young. Here. Vieira. Carlson. Here. Clendenin.
Here.
We have a physical quorum.
Thank you so much. We'd like to clear the agenda.
Item number 3, TACPA 2601. That applicant is requesting a continuance to September 24th, 2026.
We have a motion to open public hearings from Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Can I get a motion to continue item 3 to September 24th, 2026? We have a motion from Councilman Miranda, second from Councilman Maniscalco. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Mr.
Ayes have
Chairman?
it. Yes.
Date, time, and place, please.
315 East Kennedy Boulevard, 3rd floor, Tampa, Florida 33602. Who did this for me?
And
Oh, thank you. I love you. Thank you.
again, the date and time, and the file number is
The file number is
TA.
TACPA 2601 at 5:01 p.m., 3rd floor, City Hall.
September 24th,
Yeah, we already did
2026.
that part.
Thank you.
Next.
Good evening, Council. Ybor, Laban Development Coordination. Agenda item number 10, file number AB22603. The applicant has requested to continue this item to the September 24th.
We have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Miranda to continue file number AB22603 to September 24th, 2026 at 5:01 p.m., 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, 3rd floor, Tampa, Florida 33602. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. And that concludes our agenda clearing. Can I get a motion to accept the agenda? We have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 1.
Good afternoon. I should have a PowerPoint. I'm Michelle Boone, Housing and Community Development.
CTTV, waiting for the PowerPoint.
There we go.
There we go. Thank you.
So much. Good afternoon. Again, Michelle Boone, Housing and Community Development. I'm here tonight to talk about our annual action plan. This is a public hearing. It's one of the first of 2 public hearings on our annual action plan. There we go. So today we're going to talk about the background, the purpose of the action plan, the funding resources that are available in the action plan, priority needs that will be served through the funding of projects in the action plan, allocations for projects, calendar and timeline for the process, and the citizen participation process as well. The annual action plan is a summary of our federal grant dollars, our CDBG, emergency solutions, housing opportunities for persons with AIDS, and our home investment partnership program. This is a part of our 5-year consolidated plan, so this will be the 5th year of that 5-year consolidated strategic plan. Again, CDBG funds projects that provide development, decent housing, living, public service projects, decent, suitable living environments, economic opportunities for low to moderate income at or below 80% AMI. Our Emergency Solutions Grant Program provides funding for essential services for homeless or those that are at risk of homelessness. Our HOPR program is a program that supports housing for opportunities for persons with AIDS. It provides funding for agencies for housing assistance and supportive services. We serve a 3-county area. We previously served a 4-county area, but HUD has allocated funds directly to the city of St. Petersburg, and they will allocate funds for Pinellas County. So we're now only responsible for Pasco, Hillsborough, and Hernando counties for our HOPA funds. And our home investment partnership dollars fund a range of affordable housing and new construction, rehab for single-family and multifamily projects. Again, our priority needs that were determined in our consolidated plan: new construction, rehabilitation, multifamily, single-family housing, supportive housing operations through our HOPA programs and our homeless support programs. Public service assistance, we are maximized for our CDBG dollars at 15% allocated to public service agencies that provide services for childcare, healthcare, job training, or workforce development, education programs, elderly or special needs, and homeless services. Public facilities and infrastructure, for buildings that support projects that support the public service, for those same types of programs. And this is our allocation for this upcoming year. For our federal funds, we did just note our SHIP funds, which are state allocated funds, for our total grant budget of $11,445,497. So for our calendar timeline, we did release a request for proposals, a request for applications for all three federal dollars. Our ESG funds are provided to Tampa Hillsborough Homeless Initiative, and they allocate them from there. We are in the finalizing of the recommendations for the funding. So today we are required to hold 2 public hearings. This is the first. We will open our 30-day public comment period today. It will run through July 25th of 2026. And then our action plan is submitted to HUD by August of 2026. Citizen Participation Program, again, 30-day public comment period and 2 public hearings. And any information is available on the HCD website as well as in our office. We can accept comments through the telephone, email, or in person at the Hannah City Center. If there's any questions, I will help answer to them.
Any Q&A? No? Motion to close the public hearing? Or do we? Oh, is there anybody in the public wish to speak to this item? Hearing none. We have a motion to close. Councilman Maniscalco, second Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. The second public hearing will be held at 5:01 p.m. on July 23rd, 2026 at 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, 3rd floor, Tampa, Florida 33602. Thank you. Item number 2.
Emily Phelan, Planning Commission staff. Item number 2 is TACPA 2520. This one did come before you previously, where I did give an extended presentation on April 23rd. I am more than happy to go through the entire presentation or an abbreviated one, whatever council's pleasure is.
Abbreviated, please.
Okay. So like I said, this is TACPA 2520. It's located at 11315 North 46th Street and associated parcels. This is publicly initiated. It's a regular scale amendment. It's approximately 62.8 acres. And the request is to go from light industrial, heavy industrial, public, semi-public to urban mixed use 60 and community mixed use 35. And just as a reminder, the general location, it's located here. It's in the University Planning District, the Terrace Park neighborhood, and the Tampa Green Tech Corridor. This is an aerial of the subject site, which is outlined in pink. And the previous plan amendment that you have heard before was TACPA 2519, which was the Mosey site itself. To the north is University of South Florida. To the west are some multifamily. To the south are like industrial uses and a park. And to the west are some commercial uses along Fowler that transition into residential uses moving further south. Just a refresher on the site, this is looking east on North 46th Street towards the subject site. This is the daycare located on the subject site. This is looking west on Fowler Avenue. This is looking west on North 50th Street at the adjacent residential uses. This is northeast at the intersection of East Fowler Avenue and North 50th Street. This is the adopted future land use map. Again, the subject site is outlined here. It's represented with the public, semi-public, the light industrial, and the heavy industrial designations. This is the proposed future land use map. The majority of the subject site is the urban mixed use 60 designation, and the community mixed use 35 is this southwest corner. Under the existing future land use, residential is not permitted in the light industrial or the heavy industrial designations. Under the public, semi-public designation, the maximum is not defined. Under the light industrial and heavy industrial designations, the subject site could be considered for just over 3.6 million square feet of non-residential uses. Under the proposed UMU 60 and CMU 35 designations, the subject site could be considered for just over 3,400 dwelling units or 8.2 million square feet of residential or non-residential uses. This amendment would remove any industrial uses potential on the site. This did go out to our reviewing agencies. The EPC made a comment that commercial and industrial uses may be incompatible with the proposed FLU. The Planning Commission found it consistent with that it promotes a mixed-use development pattern and the compact city form strategy. And with that, the Planning Commission recommends that the proposed amendment be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the Tampa Comprehensive Plan. That concludes my presentation. If you have any questions.
Council have any questions? Hearing none. Is there anybody in the public who wishes to speak? Applicant, sorry.
Okay, I do have a PowerPoint, if we could key it up, otherwise I can actually go really quick if it's the council's pleasure.
You can go through quick.
Yeah,
Quick is good.
quick is good.
Yes.
All right,
I think
so,
we've all seen this presentation a lot of
yeah,
times.
just to remind you, public-private
Start with
partnership.
your name, please.
Oh, yeah, for the record, Matt Lewis, Stan Tech, representing Hillsborough County.
John
and-
Muller, Facilities and Real Estate for Hillsborough
Yeah.
County.
Just a reminder, it's a public-private partnership between Hillsborough County and Alliant Partners to kind of transform the area near the University of South Florida around where Mosey is right now. I'm not going to go through this because Emily just went through this slide for you. Brief recap of the history of the area. 4 generations ago, there was a great idea for this to be industrial. A generation ago, it probably was not a good idea for it to stay industrial. Today, it's definitely not a good idea for this to be industrial. So that's why we're here, and that's why the plan that you've transmitted to the state says, hey, somebody should make this something besides industrial. A walkable mixed-use area would be great, and that's what we plan to do with the area. What it does is it creates a series of future transit-ready stops along Fowler Avenue, consistent with the Fowler Avenue Vision Plan. That's in your staff report. The area is still an economic engine. It evolves from something that would have relied on industrial that never happened to kind of a destination area that would support future research and development jobs. This is why it's an economic engine. All those pink squares are where you would go to any of the regional destinations if you're coming from out of the area. This area is within walking distance of all of those pink squares and within biking distance of Moffitt Cancer Center and Busch Gardens and Adventure Island. It's consistent with the Imagine 2040 guiding principles as well as university district planning opportunities. The outcomes, as we stated early on, would be a walkable transformation of the area from a vacant industrial area surrounding Mosey to a walkable mixed-use district providing economic opportunity to support the Mosey Museum itself. And thank you. We welcome your consideration for this amendment.
Thank you. Any questions? Councilman Vera?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, thank you for that, and I've been long excited about these changes. And, I've been on Tampa City Council for about 10 years it's going on. And, the USF and Fowler area and corridor, there's been a lot of different efforts, organizations, different things that have tried to affect change on it. And I'm really glad to see this particular piece of land. I grew up in Temple Terrace, about 10 minutes away from there. So I spent a lot of my childhood years at Mosey, but this is important. It's on us as well as our friends in the county commission and the state to make sure that with developments like this, that the North Tampa area stays one of the few welcoming areas in the city of Tampa where working class people can still, and middle class people can afford to buy houses and have homes, et cetera. So we have to make sure, again, this is wonderful. This is great. It's going to be a rising tide. It's going to lift boats in the area, but we also have to make sure that, again, that as I used to always say during Hurricane Milton, working class backbone of Tampa stays accommodating for folks there. But this is great. I'm glad to support this, and I thank you guys for your work.
Thank you. Okay. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak to this item? Can I get a motion to close? Motion to close from Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Miranda. Councilman Vera, since this is in your district, would you like? Oh, all those in favor of closing say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. I'm trying to get us out of here by 7 o'clock.
Thank you.
That is a goal that I am.
Exactly. Councilman Vera, would you like to read this?
I will
please?
say amen to that, sir.
Yeah.
I move an ordinance presented for first reading consideration, ordinance amending Tampa Comprehensive Map Future Land Use Element Future Land Use Map for the property located at 11315 North 46th Street 4101, 4615, 4901 East Fowler Avenue, 11302 North 50th Street, and folio number 14019. I'm sorry, strike that, 140-139.0000 and 140-510.0000 from light industrial, heavy industrial, and public, semi-public to urban mixed use 60 and community mixed use 35, providing for repeal of all ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
I have a motion from Councilman Vera, a second from Councilman Maniscalco. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, second reading and adoption will be held on July 16th, 2026 at 10 a.m. at Old City Hall, located at 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, 3rd floor, Tampa, Florida, 33602.
Very good. Thank you. Item number 4.
Good evening, Council. Megan McCarthy, Planning Commission staff. This is the hearing for TACPA 2602, located at 1701 East 2nd Avenue. This amendment is privately initiated, small scale, and encompasses approximately 0.39 acres. The request is to go from a light industrial future land use designation
Hold
to...
on one second, please. CTTV, can we get this on the council monitors too, please? Thank you. Thank you.
Going from light industrial to urban mixed use 60 future land use designation. This amendment is located within the Central Tampa Planning District, the historic Ybor neighborhood, the Ybor City Local Historic District, as well as the coastal high hazard area. This is an aerial of the subject site showing the site outlined in yellow. The surrounding area includes industrial uses directly to the east and south, as well as further east along Adamo Drive. To the north and west are scattered commercial uses, as well as residential further north of East 2nd Avenue. While the subject site is not within the Ybor City Urban Village or the Port Activity Center, those boundaries lie just to the north and south of the site, respectively. Starting with our subject site photos, this is looking directly at the subject site from North 17th Street. This is looking at industrial uses on the east side of the subject site with the subject site behind the camera. This is looking at commercial uses on the west side of the subject site with the subject site behind the camera as well. This is looking south of the subject site at the Selman Expressway overpass. This is looking west along Adamo Drive. This is looking east along, and this is lastly looking east along Adamo Drive. Here we've referenced a historic map taken from TACPA 0626 before it was approved to change the area outlined in pink from heavy industrial to the urban mixed use 60 that you'll see on the next slide. This gives some perspective on the transition from industrial to mixed use designations over the last 20 years as a result of multiple plan amendments in the surrounding area, including 0626 as well as 0703, and more recently, Plan Amendment 2228, which approved multiple parcels to UMU 60, including the one that's directly north of our subject site. This is the adopted future land use map with the subject site outlined. Directly to the east and the southeast are light and heavy industrial. Mixed use categories including UMU 60, CMU 35, and CC 35, GMU 24 and CC 35 comprise the rest of the surrounding area to the north, south, east, and west. The teal line delineates the coastal high hazard area. This portion is within the coastal high hazard area, and it's just over 72% within. This is the proposed future land use map showing the proposed urban mixed use 60 designation. Under the adopted future land use, the site is not eligible for residential development. Currently, the site could be considered for 25,482 square feet of industrial uses. Under the proposed UMU 60 designation, the site may be considered for 23 residential development units or 55,211 square feet of residential or non-residential uses. This amendment would introduce the potential for residential uses and increase allowable residential and non-residential square footage and remove the consideration of industrial uses. The application was sent to our partner agencies and there were no objections to the request. The City of Tampa Planning Department found the request comparable and compatible with the surrounding area and noted the potential conflict between land development code requirements and industrial development of this site.
This amendment also went before the Barrio Latino Commission this past Tuesday and was recommended for approval. The Planning Commission considered industrial preservation policies as the site is currently under the light industrial flue designation and the IG zoning category, as well as policies related to the coastal high hazard area, being that all of the subject site is considered within the CHHA since the percentage within is over 50%. As noted in our staff report and by the City of Tampa staff, due to minimum requirements for development within the IG zoning category, the parcel is unlikely to allow for the development of a true employment-generating industrial use. Due to this factor, as well as the documented trend towards mixed use, staff found that the subject site may be favorable for the requested increase in density and removal of the consideration of industrial uses on the site. The proposed amendment is recommended to be found consistent with the policies and objectives of the Tampa Comprehensive Plan, including policies related to compatibility and surrounding development pattern, promotion of densities, supportive of mixed use and transit, as well as encouraging adequate housing supply and infill development, as the surrounding area is noted to be in transition to a more mixed use development pattern west of North 21st Street. The Planning Commission does recommend that the proposed map amendment be found consistent, and this concludes my presentation. I'm available for any
Council have any
questions.
questions? Hearing none. Applicant?
Good evening, Council. Alex Shaler, 400 North Ashley Drive. I will keep this one very short. I have a couple other ones to come back before you. So Meg set this up really well. We came before you all or council with a comprehensive plan amendment for a large portion of land. We split it up into two sections. We had this portion of land that was north of Adamo Drive, and then we have what has become known as Ybor Harbor. At the time, we were in the process of acquiring this small strip of what looks to be right-of-way, but it's not. It's privately owned land. We did not have that under control at that time, so that was not included in this application. Going back through our files, we wanted to get this cleaned up and extend the UMU 60 on the northern portion, just extend that down to capture this remaining strip here along Adamo. It's currently used as parking right off of Adamo Drive. Again, it's a small site, so when Planning Commission staff was reviewing this, I know that there's broader concerns citywide about a loss of industrial land, and that's understood. Given the size of the site, there's nothing that we could reasonably accommodate industrial-wise. Just given the footprint, it's just less than half an acre. So it's located along a transit emphasis corridor, and this area is, as Planning Commission showed, it has trended towards mixed-use development in the past. So the Planning Commission board found this application consistent, and the BLC found this recommended for approval earlier this week as well. And that's all I have, but I'm happy to answer questions.
Any questions? Hearing none. Anybody in the public wish to speak to this item? Seeing none, can I get a motion to close? Motion to close, Councilman Miranda, second from Councilman Vieira. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Councilman Carlson, you want to read this one?
Move item number 4, file number TACPA 26-02. Ordinance being presented for first reading consideration. Ordinance amending the Tampa Comprehensive Plan future land use element, future land use map for the property located at 1701 East 2nd Avenue from light industrial LI to urban mixed use 60 UMU 60, providing for appeal of all ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, providing effective date.
I have a motion from Councilman Carlson, second from Councilman Vieira. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Second reading and adoption will be held on July 16th, 2026 at 10 a.m. at Old City Hall, located at 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, 3rd floor, Tampa, Florida, 33602.
Thank you. Item number 5.
Have the clerk share that on my screen, please.
It'll come up. Well, in theory. Yeah, start. It'll bring it up. Here it comes. You can start.
Yeah, Ross Ammons, Development Coordination, presenting file number VAC 26-09. The applicant is Ybor Land LLC. Representative's name is Gardner Brewer Hudson. Property address is 2301 East 7th Avenue. This is a proposed vacating request to vacate the alleyway lying north of CSX Railroad, south of 7th Avenue, east of 23rd Street, and west of 24th Street. This application was filed February 9th, 2026. The right-of-way is unimproved. The right-of-way was created by subdivision plat. The existing right-of-way is approximately 3,500 square feet. The reason for the request, the requested alley vacations are necessary to facilitate a comprehensive unified redevelopment in the surrounding blocks that will substantially improve public safety, infrastructure efficiency, and long-term land use compatibility with eliminating underutilized right-of-way that no longer serves as essential public function. And this is related to the proposed rezoning REZ 2628. Here's the proposed vacating request, the alleyway in yellow, applicant's property in red. City of Tampa alley sheet showing block 19 here, CSX is here, 7th is here. The plat of East Ybor, in which the alley was dedicated. Here's an image of the general location of the alley looking east from 23rd Street. And a general location along the pole line here of where the general location of the alley is looking west from 24th Street. Staff has no objections to this vacating request. Easement reservations are required by TECO, Spectrum, Frontier, and Wastewater. Would also like to point out that it was heard by the Braille Latino Commission, and they did recommend the approval of this vacating. Special conditions, natural resources comply with Chapter 27 as regards to tree preservation and site design for any improvements placed adjacent to trees in a vacated area. That concludes my presentation. I'm available if you have any questions.
Any questions? Hearing none. Applicant? We did so well last time. Let's keep it on the roll.
You guys used to tell me that I talk too fast, but now you want me to go quicker.
You have never heard me say that. Ever. Nobody has ever heard me say that.
Okay, Alex Shaler, 400 North Ashley Drive, for the record. As Ross mentioned, this right-of-way vacating is in service of our PDA rezoning, which you'll hear a couple items from now. But I did want to give you some context, and again, I'm foreshadowing some of these larger maps, but I think it's important to see where this alley is located. So the singular alley that we are proposing to vacate in conjunction with the PDA, it's highlighted in yellow there with the red stars. So as you can see, it's pretty central. Got it, okay. Pretty central to the larger redevelopment. This is it in another graphic, as you can see that it's outlined in yellow there, with the other kind of type A and type B streets shown as well. So we feel that there's inherent justification for this, and the prime reason is that this, given where it's located, I'll come back up here, given where it's located, central to the development, and it's a full block, being able to use that for structured parking is pretty critical for the development. And I know that we have our larger opinions about parking, but when you're redeveloping a very large district like this is 55 different parcels, we don't want to have parking on individual lots. I mean, that's the whole point one of the whole points that we wanted to do a PDA was for centralized parking, and this site is very well suited for that. BLC did hear this and did recommend approval for the same reason. We kind of showed them the overall vision. And they actually had us add a condition to the alley vacating that we did. We materialized this on the PDA site plan. They had asked that we put a plaque on the parking garage, which I thought was really unique. I hadn't heard that before. They wanted us to put a plaque there that would pay homage to the fact that the alley did exist. So while we won't be carrying the alley into the future in terms of operations, it'll still be memorialized there where it existed in history, which I thought was great. Staff didn't have any objections in any of the reviewing departments to the request. That's all I have, but I am happy to answer questions.
Any questions? Hearing none. Is there anybody in the public wish to speak to this item? Can I get a motion to close? Motion to close, Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Viera. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Councilwoman Young.
Okay, file Number VAC-26-09, ordinance being presented for first reading consideration, an ordinance of the City of Tampa, Florida, vacating, closing, discontinuing, and abandoning that alleyway located north of CSX Railroad, south of 7th Avenue, east of 23rd Street, and west of 24th Street, as dedicated by the plat of Termins East Ybor subdivision in Ybor City, Hillsborough County, Florida, and as more fully described in Section 2 hereof, subject to certain covenants, conditions, and restrictions as more particularly set forth herein, providing for enforcement and penalties for violations, providing for definitions, interpretations, and repealing conflicts, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
I have a motion from Councilwoman Young, I have a second from Councilman Viera. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Okay, the
Okay,
next.
second reading and adoption will be held on July 6th, sorry. Second reading and adoption will be held on July 16th, 2026 at 10 a.m. at Old City Hall, located at 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, 3rd floor, Tampa, Florida, 33602.
Thank you. The next public hearings, if you're here for any of the rest of the business tonight, you'll need to be sworn in. If you're planning on speaking, stand, raise your right hand, and be sworn in by the clerk.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you so much. Item number 6.
Good evening, Council and Chairman. Ybor Laban Development Coordination. Agenda item number 6 is AB 22608. This is a special use 2 request for the property located at 2105 West Morrison Avenue. The request is for alcoholic beverage sales with a small venue classification for beer, wine, and liquor consumption on premises only. The aerial map is on the screen. The subject property is outlined in red. This property is located at the northeast corner of South Alita Street and West Morrison Avenue, just east of South Howard, within the central Tampa Planning District and along a mixed-use corridor. The property is owned CI, Commercial Intensive, and currently operates as the Tiny Tap Tavern. You can see a mixture of PD uses along the mixed-use corridor here. This is the site plan that was presented by the applicant. The applicant is requesting approval to add liquor sales to an establishment that already currently operates as a bar lounge with beer and wine approval. Approval of this request would allow beer, wine, and liquor sales for on-premises consumption only. Customer access is provided through on South Alita Street, and the parking is located on the north part of the site and from West Morrison Avenue. The total alcoholic beverage sales area that is proposed, or it is existing already, is 1,174 square feet, and it's all located indoors. I'll run through the photos real quick. This is the north elevation from West Morrison Avenue, facing west on West Morrison Avenue towards Howard Avenue. Facing west on West Morrison Avenue. Subject site is on the right here. This is along the CSX railway. Subject property is on the left behind us. This is on South Alita Street. The subject property is on our left, and the Morrison apartment complex is to the right. This is the west elevation of the Tiny Tap. This is the south elevation from South Alita Street. Commercial uses on the right behind the site. And the mixed-use residential is, multifamily use is on the west side of the site. Development review and compliance staff review the application and find the request inconsistent with the applicable City of Tampa land development regulations due to the requested waivers. Minor site plan modifications are required between first and second reading if council should move to approve. I'm available for any questions.
Councilwoman Hurtak.
So you had a picture that had like some picnic tables outside. So you're saying the AB area is only inside?
The AB area, yes, ma'am, is
Okay.
only indoors.
Double checking, thank you.
Very good. Applicant?
Good evening, Council. My name is Colin Rice, the law firm of Older Lundy, 1000 West Cass. I've been sworn here on behalf of the applicant. Have a couple of visuals for you. Appreciate Leo's introduction. So to be clear, we're here for the world-famous Tiny Tap Tavern. So established in 1934, tonight we're asking for your help to ensure that this funky little establishment can persist for decades into the future. So again, the request is, no package sales, consumption on premises only, the same AB area that's already approved, but just to add liquor, to bring it up to current consumer tastes and market conditions. So again, to orient you, we're right off of the Selman Expressway and the railroad, right off of South Howard. Zooming in, you can see, our strangely shaped lot here on Morrison and Aletta. This is the site plan submitted in 1952. You'll be relieved to know that they have hot and cold water. So current site plan, again, same footprint. The area around it's grown up a lot, but it's really staying as is. We held a neighborhood meeting. Great conversations with the neighbors. I'm not aware of any opposition. The concerns were you're not going to change this, right? And he's committed even to keeping the weird old brown tables. So he has a lot of respect, the current owner, for what this institution has meant over the years. And he's faithful to keeping that. So it's a change of use, not a change of use, just changing the juice. We have consistent finding from transportation. Leo added a note to restrict outdoor amplified sound. We are completely fine with that. And the only waiver is because there is an AB establishment 215, not 250 feet away. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions. We request your approval tonight.
Councilwoman Hurtado.
Sure.
So I did have a question, like I said, I saw the outdoor area. Like, is there a reason that you don't want to go ahead and just wet zone a little bit of the outside?
So we'd love to, but as you can imagine, this is a highly non-conforming site. So once you change the use or increase intensity, it's a much bigger party, and we're not there.
Understandable,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none. Anybody in the public wish to speak to this item? Hearing none, I have motion to close. Councilman Miranda, second from Councilman Maniscalco. All those in favor say aye.
Can I just-
Aye, opposed, ayes. Oh, you have a
Can
question?
can I just say one thing? Do we need to reopen, or we weren't finished?
Do you have a question?
You have a question, or you just want to say
Yeah, I
something?
want to have a question.
Okay,
Okay.
motion to reopen? So moved. Well, motion from Miranda, second from Councilman Maniscalco. All those in favor say aye. Aye,
Aye.
opposed, ayes have it. Councilman Carlson.
So you put tell between first and second reading that what we're approving now will include what you just said about the outdoor amplified sound, that it will prohibit that, right?
On the site plan.
Correct. Lou, is that correct? I'll let Leo answer that.
I just
That is
want
our
to
intent,
I just
yes.
want to make sure,
Yeah,
because
Leo
what it
Bartley.
didn't show is there are single family homes all around there too.
Correct. Leo Bartley, Development Coordination. I do have a supplemental revision sheet that I can give.
I
With
just want to
that-
make sure it's included, so, and Marty, or legal, we can't make this contingent on it staying the tiny tap, right? No, okay.
Okay, can I get a motion to close again? Motion to close for Councilman Vera, second for Councilman Maniscalco. I'm sorry, Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Thank you very much, Councilwoman Hurtado.
Okay, second.
I've got to read it.
We gotta read it first.
Yeah.
See?
Oh.
Hey, you're being Alan now. She wants out by 7 too.
So I do want to say that I'm really happy to be reading this one, because I think there's nothing better than a dive bar, a small neighborhood space, and those are disappearing in the city of Tampa. So I'm really thrilled that they were able to keep this. So file number AB, and I believe Ms. Johnson-Velez told me that this is a 74-year-old alcohol permit.
I think even older.
Okay, well, either way, so this is a historic use if I've ever heard of one. File number AB 2-26-08, ordinance being presented for first reading consideration, and ordinance approving a special use permit, SU2, for alcoholic beverage sales, small venue, consumption on premises only, and making lawful the sale of beverages, regardless of alcoholic content, beer, wine, and liquor, on that certain lot, plot, or tract of land located at 2105 West Morrison Avenue, Tampa, Florida, as more particularly described in Section 3, providing that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict are repealed, repealing ordinance number 1463-A, providing an effective date, including the revision sheet.
I have a motion from Councilwoman Hurtak, a second from Councilman
Can I make a
Maniscalco.
statement?
Councilman Carlson.
I just following what Councilmember Hurtak said, for the community, this is not just a neighborhood bar. This is, I think, one of the most important pubs, bars in Tampa. It's one of the most important cultural destinations in Tampa. I've had visitors from all over the country, around the world, and I can take them to Plant Hall. They can go to Burns, everything. They go to Tiny Tap, and they love it. Everybody loves it exactly the way it is. And so you said the feedback from the community was to keep it. Please, if you guys, if the owners have any issues trying to save, this is a really important cultural icon in our entire city. So I hope that we can keep it like that.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay. Second reading and adoption will be held on July 16th, 2026 at 10 a.m. at Old City Hall, located at 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, 3rd floor, Tampa, Florida, 33602.
Let's keep it rolling.
All right. Leo DeBar, Laban Development Coordination. Agenda item number 7 is file number AB 22609. This is a special use 2 request for the property located at 1281 Ray Charles Boulevard. The request is for alcoholic beverage sales with a large venue classification for beer, wine, and liquor consumption on premises, and package sales off premises consumption. The aerial map is on the screen. The subject property is outlined in red. The property is located on North Nebraska Avenue and Ray Charles Boulevard here. This is within the the Encore development in the Central Tampa Planning District along a mixed-use corridor and within the Central Park Urban Village. The property is zoned PD, planned development, and is currently under construction as part of the Encore development. This is the site plan that was presented by the applicant. The proposed establishment will function as a neighborhood market and cafe, occupying a portion of the ground floor commercial space within the mixed-use development. Approval will allow for retail package sales of beer, wine, and liquor, as well as on-premises consumption within the cafe component of the business. Customer access is provided from Ray Charles Boulevard and North Nebraska Avenue. Nebraska and Ray Charles here. The total alcoholic beverage sales area is 23,783 square feet, consisting of 23,022 square feet of indoor area and 761 feet of outdoor area. Run through some pictures real quick. This is the northeast elevation of the subject site. The cafe and retail portion is occupying the first floor here. This is the east elevation from North Nebraska Avenue. This is the east elevation, the southern portion of that same building. Facing south on North Nebraska, facing north on North Nebraska. This is the corner of North Nebraska and East Maryland Avenue. So what we were just looking at is directly behind us. This is facing north on North Nebraska towards East Scott Street here at the light. This is facing south on Blanche Armwood Street. So the subject site is on our left. Facing south on Blanche Armwood and Ray Charles. Facing east, this would be the west elevation, and this is facing west. Development Review and Compliance staff have reviewed the application and find the request consistent with the applicable City of Tampa land development regulations. Minor site plan modifications will be required between first and second reading if council should move to approve this. And I'm available for any questions.
Can you please put the plan back on and show me where the outdoor space is?
Absolutely. So the outdoor area is identified as parcel 3, so it's just a small patio.
Okay, but parcel 2 is the main,
That will be the market.
okay. So, do we have anything about outdoor amplified noise?
I believe there is a note on the site plan.
Okay,
Yeah, there is no, well, between first and second reading, that's one of the revisions we asked for, no amplified sound is allowed.
Okay.
in the
And then
applicant's
what are the hours of operation? Because 24,000 square feet is a lot, and we just really want to make sure that what we're doing is, that we're not enabling something else down the line.
The proposed hours are consistent with chapter 14.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to ask the applicant about that. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Q applicant.
David Smith, 401 East Jackson Street, Stearns Weaver Miller, Director of Development and Zoning for the applicant. Did a good job in orientation. Pretty excited about this coming forward. Olavancar, now all the lots are sold. I was originally the planner that developed and got the PD zoning approved in 2008 for this development to move forward. We've been trying to get a grocery store in the location for quite some time, finally been successful with the current developer. That's really what the anchor of this request is. Here's the location, here's Encore Development in general. Putting the site plan back up that was shown to you previously. Yeah, we have a very small outdoor space, about 671 square feet. It's only accessed directly from inside the grocery store. As far as the hours go, I did confirm with the applicant that the grocery store is going to operate from about 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week. The liquor store will be 11 o'clock to 9, Sunday through Wednesday, and then it will go to 10 o'clock. So this is not a large venue bar operation. The large venue is for sip and stroll, just like you have in Publix's and in other parts, Whole Foods. And so that's the intent of the request. Again, small liquor store, companion with the grocery store. It's really bonique, about 22,000 square feet total. Glad to answer any of the questions you may
Councilwoman
have.
Hurtak.
So just because we're really trying to protect the possibilities, because this alcohol zoning runs with the land, would they be willing to do something like 6 a.m. to midnight? So kind of like widening what they might need. So giving a little bit of parameters if indeed something were to happen and this might change use, would that be something that would be amenable?
I would have to confirm with them. Before I came, I actually asked them about the intended hours of operation, which is what I indicated.
Yeah, which is why I
So
gave
much
you
tighter, right.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Wider would be better in case it ended up becoming something different. Midnight, I think, is again more palatable to the residents around them. That
Sure.
seems reasonable.
That's something I'd have to confirm with them exactly. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure that they're not going to be uncomfortable with it because they were ready to commit to these hours.
How about between
pleasure.
first and second reading?
Yeah, between first and second reading, I can get that confirmation
Okay.
from the applicant.
So how do we best do that?
Staff, if the applicant isn't ready to confirm that at this point, how do we?
Bless you.
Between first and second reading, we can add a condition that if they do agree to it, that will be one of the changes that's added.
Okay.
She said 6, I was starting.
Council LaShawn Dog, Development Coordination. Just want to state on the record and just place on the record, is council okay if he speaks with his client and he does not want to change those hours? What would be the direction of council at that point?
And that's why I'm asking, because I'm not comfortable with chapter 14. I'm not, because that goes to 3 a.m. And again, we just, like, that doesn't, need that for a grocery store. But I'm willing, I think it's fine to, widen it in case it becomes like a full restaurant or something like that. But just 3 a.m. is really hard for a 24,000 square foot piece.
And there's no intent on the applicant's part to have this be
but
open
in
to
20
3 a.m.
years, you just never know. So again, I think we're all just trying to be more cognizant as we develop that the rest of the neighbors will have a good neighbor. And again, I mean, you just don't know.
I think that the sense here is that between first and second reading, speak with the applicant, and take your chances.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, if they were here right now, I could probably confirm immediately, but I know that they had stated these were the areas of operation.
Right.
So, if it's the pleasure, I think the commitment would be that we commit to these hours of operation, and then we confirm in between first and second reading regarding the 6 a.m. to
Midnight?
midnight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I don't, what time does the grocery store open? 8, 7?
Well, this one's open at, the grocery store is gonna open at 7 o'clock.
Okay, well then let's do 7 a.m. to midnight. How's that?
Okay. I mean, it's
Okay.
fine, that's beyond what they were saying they were gonna operate.
Okay, so we'll move forward with that, knowing what you're hearing from council, and you can bring that between first and second reading. But we're
Yes, sir.
going to move forward with the first reading tonight.
No,
Okay,
perfect.
very good.
Thank you very much.
Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak to this item? Councilman Carlson, do you have something to say?
I just want to ask him, Mr. Smith, is this, I was just looking up to reconfirm, but can you tell me, is this Dr. K's property or is it adjacent to it?
I'm sorry.
Is this Dr. K's property or is it adjacent to it?
Oh, this is the Ariat
Yeah, I
development,
just
which
want to,
Dr.
and I saw Christian walk in. I just want to thank the family for following through on their promises when they came through to us before, a couple years ago. They talked about putting a grocery store in, and so thank you to them for following through on that.
Yep, I will relay that to them. I'm sure they're watching tonight. This is a mixed-use building, residential, medical office, and the retail on the bottom.
Great building.
So it's a
Great
good
building.
deal.
Yeah, it's a great building.
Thank you.
Very good. Anybody in the public wish to speak to this item? Hearing none. Move to close. Motion to close, Councilman Maniscalco, second Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Councilman Maniscalco.
Okay. I have an ordinance being presented for first reading approving a special use permit SU2 for alcoholic beverage sales, large venue consumption, on-premise package sales, off-premise consumption, and making lawful the sale of beverages regardless of alcoholic content, beer, wine, and liquor on that certain lot, plot, or tract of land located at 1281 Ray Charles Boulevard, Tampa, Florida, is more particularly described in Section 2, providing that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict are repealed, providing an effective date, and with the revision sheet, and then the hours that we stated, which I believe were 7 a.m. to midnight.
Okay, we have, are we putting that in the motion, the hours without consent from the,
He said yes.
well, he said he was going to check with the owners.
He said yes,
Oh.
It's
put it
beyond what they
in,
were
and then he would approve, and then he would
That's it,
check,
that's
and if
confirmed.
they said no, then they would have to come for a first reading again.
Okay, very good. Okay, we have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Second reading and adoption will be held on July 16th, 2026 at 10 a.m. at Old City Hall, located at 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, 3rd floor, Tampa, Florida, 33602.
Thank you. Next. Have a good night.
Good evening, Council. Ybor Labor Development Coordination. I do also have a supplemental revision sheet for this one as well. Agenda item number 8 is AB 22614. This is a special use 2 request for the properties located at 1301 East 4th Avenue, 1306 East 4th Avenue, 1302 East 2nd Avenue, and 1315 East 5th Avenue. The request is for alcoholic beverage sales with a large venue classification for beer, wine, and liquor consumption on premises and package sales off-premises consumption. On your screen is a aerial depiction of the subject site. Those 4 addresses that I just read off are outlined in red. The subject property is part of the Gasworks development and consists of blocks E1, E2, and E3. The property is located on the east side of North Avenida Republica de Cuba. This property is located along the Central Tampa Planning District along a mixed-use corridor and within the Ybor City Urban Village. The property is zoned Plan Development Alternative, PDA, under rezoning case REZ 21114. This is the site plan that was submitted by the applicant. What's shown here is block E1 here, block E2 here, and block E3. The applicant is requesting a master alcoholic beverage sales approval for those 3 blocks. on the Gasworks of development. Approval would allow for future tenants within the development to conduct alcoholic beverage sales under a single AB sales approval, subject to the conditions and limitations shown on the site plan. Approved uses within the development include residential retail sales, office, business professional, and medical office, bar lounge, restaurant, recreational facility, hotel motel, personal services, and microbrewery uses. Approved uses within the development include, the site plan establishes maximum alcoholic beverage sales areas, operating conditions, reporting requirements, and security measures for future tenants. The total alcoholic beverage sales area proposed is 181,783 square feet, consisting of 142,174 square feet of indoor sales area and 39,609 square feet of outdoor sales area. There are 795 parking spaces that are required, and the applicant is providing 993. Outdoor amplified sound is permitted until 10 p.m. except for bar lounge uses where outdoor amplified sound is prohibited. Look at some pictures. This is facing east on East 4th Avenue and North 14th Street. Block E1 is on the right, Block E2 is on the left. The construction is already underway. This is the east elevation of blocks E2 and E3 from 4th Avenue. This is facing east on 4th Avenue, so our view was directly behind us on the previous picture. This is the east elevation of the building on block E3. This is facing west on East 3rd Avenue and 14th Street. This is block 2 on the right and block E3 on the left. It's facing west on East 3rd Avenue and North 14th Street. This is the private paseo that was approved through the PD or the PDA. This is facing east on East 3rd Avenue and North 14th. Commercial uses in the surrounding blocks. Those commercial uses. This is facing south on East 5th Avenue and North 14th Street. This is 14th Street here, and this is block E1. The development coordination staff reviewed the application and found the request inconsistent with applicable City of Tampa land development regulations due to the requested waiver for distance separation along from another alcoholic beverage establishment. Transportation staff was consistent. A site plan modification, including revisions identified in the supplemental revision sheet, are required between first and second reading should City Council move to approve. The supplemental revisions include limiting alcohol beverage sales hours for all AB sales locations to no later than 1 a.m. and restricting 3 APS licensed uses to no more than 2 locations, as agreed following discussions with members of the public. And I'm available for any questions.
Councilwoman Hurtak.
Can you please put the site plan back up?
Sure.
And show me where the 39,000 square feet of outdoor space is.
Absolutely. So there is some outdoor area located here, and then in this paseo, which is
Okay.
here.
And so what you're saying is these outdoor areas, the amplified noise would have to stop at 10 p.m.
If it's a bar lounge use, that's what they've.
No, you said bar lounge use noise prohibited.
Oh, right. Yes,
And
ma'am.
then 10 p.m. for any amplified noise, that would include the paseos? Oh, I can ask the applicant too, if I'm getting too far in the weeds. And then the other thing I just wanted to see, because this is an absolute insane amount of square footage of alcohol, can you show me exactly where, because I couldn't tell by the site plan what is being wet zoned? Is it every single inch?
So, yes, ma'am. So
Yes, but
So it is the total footprint. Most of these, I believe, and the applicant can speak to that, I think most of it is on the ground floor commercial portions of the building. And then, so if they have a tenant that goes in with the restaurant use, and then those, that total square footage will be deducted from that.
Okay, yeah, I'll ask the applicant, because I'm very uncomfortable with this.
Councilman Rand, did you have something to say? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay, applicant?
Alex Shaler, 400 North Ashley Drive. I have Damian Prasiga with Kettler here with me as well. It's all both part of the Gasworks project. Leo set this up. These are actively under construction today, as you know. They're like flying out of the ground. We have E1, E2, and E3. The E just stands for East. These are part of the larger PDA. There's the CSX rail tracks to the north, and then 14th Street is to the east. You can't see it in this photo because of the buildings, but Channelside Drive is bounding these on the west, and then you have 2nd Avenue there to the south. This might give you a little bit of color in terms of the site plan. So I can kind of walk through this in a little bit more detail, but the indoor I have shaded in kind of the light pink and the outdoors in blue. In terms of what exactly we're wet zoning, yes. So E1 is going to be a multifamily building. All of the entire ground floor is going to be retail, restaurant, mixed uses there. So as you can see, yes, we're going to be wet zoning this ground floor that wraps around the podium parking garage, as you can see in the middle. E2, this building here on the left, this is going to be a market hall building, so think kind of similar to Armature Works. It's that existing warehouse that we're adaptively reusing, so that's a large bulk of the wet zoning area as well. That's going to be indoor, and then as you can see, there is some outdoor sales area associated with that too, to the west there. And then this building here, closest to 14th Street, that's going to be an office. We are wetting the ground floor of that, and then a portion of the 5th floor, that's going to be a rooftop. You can kind of see in this photo, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but you can kind of see this outdoor rooftop area there. That's a portion of the 5th floor that's contributing to the outdoor square footage as well. And then, yes, as Leo mentioned, the Paseo, this is going to be private, non-vehicular, pedestrian activated. And then the building E3, this is also a multifamily building as well, with the activated ground plane wetting this area around the parking garage. This next slide, yes, I do want to note that, yeah, we understand this is a lot of square footage, completely understood. These are maximums, and I think that, in discussions with the retail leasing team, we are not confident whatsoever that all of this area is going to end up wet. Like, right, some of this will be retail. It won't be like wetting dress shops where they have glasses of wine available. Like, not all of this is going to be wet, but in terms of, and Damien can speak to this probably a little bit better than I can, but in terms of selecting specific tenants and tenants wanting to move around to different spaces, we didn't want to get into the situation where we're coming to you all for every single box that we have. And so we thought if we get the ground floor wet, we're allowed to kind of move tenants as need be around into different spaces. These are the list of permitted uses that we're including in the wet zoning. Again, this is a pretty wide breadth of uses, but general commercial uses that we could see not only within the development, but more specifically on the ground floor. And again, this is going to be heavily retail and restaurant uses, but we wanted to cover our bases and have personal services, commercial rec, stuff like that as well. This was mentioned, but yes, we are committing to prohibiting sales past 1 a.m. for all blocks in all uses. And then the amplified sound, yes, that is prohibited past 10 p.m. indoor and outdoor. Obviously, this is outdoor amplified sound, but not indoor. Not past 10 p.m., but then again, yes, we are prohibiting that for the bar lounge use outdoor. And go ahead.
I'm saying,
Your team usually comes up with very creative legal ideas. To the point about all this space, is there any solution that says within a given amount of space, a certain number of square feet will be allocated that could float depending on where it is? Is there any kind of flexible agreement that is not just blanket?
Yeah, it's really tough with the way that the city does these wet zoning legal descriptions. Like, for example, in St. Pete, you can go in and file for an address in the same day you would get a wet zoning approved without a legal description. We have to have a legal description tied to every single wet square foot. So it does make it tough to have kind of floating space, but heard you on that one. I'm gonna have Damien come up and speak a little bit, and then, sure, I can answer.
Another question, Councilwoman.
Sure.
Yeah, can you go back a couple of slides? So, A, with the office roof deck,
Sure.
Is that going to follow the 10 PM amplified noise, or can we just simply have no amplified noise on a roof deck?
Do you know the answer to that, Damien?
Not at this time.
Okay. I don't know for sure if that's going to be classified as a bar lounge or if it's gonna be a restaurant. That's my thought. If they're serving food, if that qualifies as a restaurant, then they would be allowed to do it until 10 PM and not be prohibited.
But
thought.
again, it could be a restaurant today, but
Sure.
in 20 years, it's a nightclub.
Sure, yep.
And it's amplified
Yeah.
till 10 PM, and it's bothering the people who live next door and who have small children. I mean,
Sure.
like, again, I wish we did not have to do this, but it runs with the land.
Sure.
And Ybor specifically is an area that we are trying to
Right.
walk away from the nightclub
Right.
ification, which brings me to the Market Hall building, and that is
Yeah.
the one I'm the most concerned about.
Sure, okay. I think for the rooftop, so I think we are covered in that sense, that if it is a bar lounge, it will not have outdoor amplified sound, so I think we're good
They
there.
said no bar, they said
No.
Right,
So no bar lounge on the roof deck, but I guess that's my question. How are you going to each individual space and
Sure.
saying, this is gonna be the bar lounge, this is gonna be this is gonna be that?
yeah,
Because right now, you're telling me, well, that's not gonna be a bar lounge, but how do I know that? Because
Right.
that's not on the site plan.
right, right.
No, I think she's saying that if it's a bar lounge, they're not going to permit
Yes.
on the site plan,
Right.
there's no amplified music.
But
bar
on the
lounge.
site plan, it does not say that that's going to be a restaurant. It just says
Yeah.
indoor AB sales area. What she's saying is it could be any of these mixes, but we don't know what
If
they
it is a bar
are.
lounge, they're not going to permit outdoor amplified
Okay,
sound. That's-
okay, I know, but
But yeah, understood in the sense that it is hard at, this early in the stage of where, we're still working with potential tenants to pin down which uses go where. But I understand your concern about, and I think that, between readings, I don't want to speak for Damien, but I mean, I think we could, if there's concern about certain spaces becoming like blanket bar lounge, I think we could limit that or add a square footage cap or something to make that more comfortable.
that's what I'm talking about with the 31,900 square feet of
Yep.
alcohol permit till
Right.
1 AM. You just don't know.
Yeah.
And again, this is what this community keeps coming back to us over and over again about.
Sure.
So I'm just gonna ask these questions
Yeah.
because because it's gonna be on me.
Right.
Councilman Carlson.
Yeah, just to add to that, there's this big movement in Ybor, including by your clients, to turn Ybor back into a community. And the neighborhoods are bought in. I think most of the businesses are bought in. And we've been trying to limit a new AB license
Sure.
because a bunch of them were given out in the 90s. And so, keep in mind, probably the neighborhoods are watching, the other property owners are watching. What's the best case for why, if we're limiting in other parts of Ybor, why this
Sure,
area
sure.
should have AB, but also this much AB?
Of course. Yeah, and I think that this is a bit different because Gasworks in general is relatively insular, right? I mean, there are, I'm not saying there are not residential properties near here. I mean, there's obviously proximate residential. This is Ybor. But I think that what we were trying to do, and Damien will speak to this more, but, especially as terms of them being a master operator of this, there is a little bit more control. Now, of course, to your point, Councilwoman Hurtak, they're a master operator now, but in 20 years, are they still going to be a master operator? I can tell you that the answer is yes, but again, there's a level of trust there, and so I think that in terms of this development, it's very similar to something like Midtown. Like Midtown came in and did something very similar, where they wet all of the ground floors across all of Midtown, and they had Chapter 14 hours. And again, that was a different time, and I understand that things have changed, but I do think that with these levers that we're able to pull in terms of no outdoor amplified sound past 10 and closing at 1 AM, I mean, we are committed to ensuring that this isn't some large gathering of bars, but, I understand that it runs with the land. But what I would ask is that Damien could finish off our presentation and then I can answer more questions, so, okay.
Move forward.
Sure.
Hello, I'm Damien Persiga, 1902 North 14th Street. I'm a managing director at Kettler. What I wanted to do is just kind of give a brief overview of the buildings. I think it's important to recognize that, we have residents. We've actually have 1,300 units that are built in in gas works. We've already completed 800 of them, and that's the La Union and Stevedore. And we're currently building the other 500 that would be opening within these 3 buildings. So this is the E1, which is called the Louisa. It's 140 units, over 18,000 square feet of ground floor retail, and it has the 520 parking spots. This is Barrio Market, which is the 28,000 square foot market that we were talking about earlier. This is our office, which is 100,000 square foot, fully leased office building with 15,000 square feet of ground floor retail and that rooftop. And Olivet, this is 375 residential units with over 28,000 square feet of retail. With these units being built, I think it's important to recognize that we have to ensure that we're respecting our residents that are over the retail. We want to make sure we're controlling what happens on a ground level. And we feel by doing this, by having this master wet zoning, we can better control our tenants, whether it's from noise, liquor sales. There could be some bad apples, and we can actually control their leases, whether we're giving them a warning for every noise or liquor violations or drink violations. We can financially impact them, and we can even evict them. The last thing we want to do is have individual tenants really pull their own wet zoning, and really all they're caring about is their sales. So we have mechanism to really be able to control what we're doing and how we can control our tenants. I think it's also important to recognize we are long-term landowners. We don't expect to sell these units. And it's our obligation, once again, to take care of our patrons, make sure they're safe, our residents, and really take care of our assets. So it's important for us to take care of this investment as well. So, and ultimately, like, we feel that we have the biggest strength to control what happens within these retail outlets. As for the office rooftop, we do have a 10-year lease on that floor level that is an office tenant that will be using the tenant, that area, that open terrace, for their own use. But to your point, 10 years down the road, if it is a lounge, we obviously have to follow the city's ordinance. We have to follow, if there is a new, that happens to be a lounge after the 10 years, then we would follow the city's ordinances.
Are you finished with your presentation?
Yeah, actually, let me see, what's the next one? Yeah, absolutely. Any
Councilwoman
questions?
Young. Could you just walk me through one more time which E1, E2, E3, which is which?
E1 is the Louisa, the Louisa,
Which is all residential.
residential with 18,000 square feet of ground floor retail, which is part of the wet zoning.
Okay.
Grow Finance, or the office, or E2 office, is a 100,000 square foot office, over 15,000 square feet of retail, and the roof terrace.
Okay, so no residential at all, just office and retail.
That's right.
Okay.
And then Barrio Market, that's the market, the 28,000 square foot market.
That's E3?
That is E2 market. So E2 office and E2 market.
Okay.
And there's Olivet, which is E3, and that's 376 units, over 28,000 square feet of retail. And then I think it's also important to mention La Union and Stevedore, which is also part of our Gasworks community.
And what's okay, so E1 is Louisa, E2 is the office in Barrio Market.
Correct.
And then E3 is?
Olivet.
Okay.
I think it's also important to just say that we're creating a neighborhood, not an entertainment district. And I think by having the way we've set up the design and the architecture with all of our residents over the wet zoning and retail is important to recognize. We need to make sure we're controlling that. Last thing we want is complaints from our residents.
Okay. Yep. That's
Councilman Miranda.
Well, in a way, really, it resembles something like Midtown.
That's right.
just with the Spanish flavor. And it's something unique, something different, and like one of the council members, Hertak spoke, the problem not with you or with us is that I like it, I really enjoy this because I see a difference of people coming back to Ybor City and live, not that they're not there now, but you have a vicinity here that you're close to everything you need within your own area. You can play, you can have a drink, you can go to the marketplace, you can go to if you need something at Tampa General Innovation Center, you can go to buildings that you own on both sides. I believe that's Nick Nuncio Boulevard on the other side. And that walks in, drives into to all the sparkling new things and on the east side of town, downtown. And it's a concept that is really laid out very nice. You got a park, you have things for your, however, you have your own destiny holder of what happens to yourself. Because your buildings are all mixed use. They're not one thing or the other. Yes, you have alcohol just about everywhere. And in a way that's positive and in a way that's dangerous because alcohol stays with the land forever. And that wasn't a council script, it was one from Tallahassee that they did, I don't know how many years ago. And these are the things that are there that could be dangerous, but the way you spoke and the way you handle it, I think it's fine. You have some restriction on those possibilities that might happen. And the way life is, if it might happen, it could happen. And what I'm looking here is something that it's really, really unique. It's like a miniature downtown, or maybe equal to downtown, or what you have that the Vinnick brothers, the Vinnick family, and the CRAs built all around the east side of downtown. And what you have there is another part of a city. And this looks like another part of a city somewhere else, just in close proximity to that. So you no longer see the sticky banana docks. You no longer see the old Coca-Cola building that was there. You don't see all the drugs, the prostitution, everything you had there 40 years ago. Back in the 90s, it started that way, and look at it now. So it took individuals with some foresight and a lot of gambling to get where it's at that it would work. And when you gamble, sometimes you win and sometimes you don't lose. And but it is what it is, and I have to applaud you because this is something different that, and I know the problem is the alcohol, but the layout of it is, it's like another city coming in with a different look. And the way it looks now, the loser is really yourself. If you don't control your alcohol in the buildings that you're in, yes, it's forever, but the loser is you, because you're taking upon yourself the risk that that alcohol license performs to whatever standard is required by law. And there's where the problem comes. You become a winner, and you're gambling that you won't be a loser. And that's how it is, in my mind.
Thank you. Councilwoman Hertak.
I think Councilman Miranda, made a good point. 40 years ago, Ybor was empty. 40 years before that, it was very similar to this. But then people left, and it turned into a nightclub district to survive. And there were still people living above the storefronts. So this is why I'm concerned, because this is what this neighborhood has tried so very hard to get out of. And by providing so much alcohol square footage, it's just, I'm very uncomfortable without having a little more solid knowledge. And again, the thing that's most concerning for me is the Barrio Market. It is a huge piece of land. I mean, that's 28,000 square feet of alcohol permitted till 1 a.m. That could easily become a dance hall, could become things. Again, I'm concerned about what happens in 40 years. You cannot guarantee you're going to own this forever. You cannot guarantee that this is going to remain. I mean,
This is Q&A time.
yes, but so my question is, what are the 3 APS licenses? What are those?
Sure, I can talk to that. Those are package sales for beer, wine, and liquor. And so I know that there was some concern floated around from the neighborhood. They weren't overly concerned, but they had told us that, with other developments that have come online in Ybor, they've been hesitant for like liquor stores. So anything, we have limited our spaces to only having at the most 2 of those specific licenses for package sales.
Okay, and then I have a question for staff or legal, probably legal, but might be staff, I'm not quite sure.
Are you done with the presentation?
Yeah, I'll do a rebuttal, but.
Okay.
So,
And if
do you wanna-
I just want to say, I think there's good precedent projects that have had great success, great safety. Armature Works is one, a Midtown, Water Street. I mean, you're seeing, as long as there's good security, safety, and we are providing all that. There is, once again, we're able to police this better because we're controlling the master wet zoning and alcohol licenses rather than the individual tenants. I think that's a great strength. We can financially burden these tenants if they're not following the rules, or they're impacting, the risk of us losing that license. And so it's really important that, for us, that we're able to manage this properly and to the fullest. So.
Thank you, and I appreciate that, but literally, this is what we're fighting right now with Armature Works, is an alcohol and noise problem. So that is what we're doing right now. I mean, literally, we were supposed to talk about that in a workshop today. So my question is for staff, and my question is there a way, when it comes to bar and lounge, that you can prohibit a nightclub, or is that just not a possibility?
Leo Ybor, Laban Development Coordination. City Council can condition the site plan and the applicant, like how you choose, and it's.
Okay. So I mean, the applicant, I would be interested to know if you would be willing to put that for the Barrio Marketplace, that on the site plan, that it will never be a nightclub. No, I mean, if you can condition that, then that's my ask.
We were on the same wavelength because I was asking LaShawn the same question. So again, I mean, not to use Armature Works as a comparison, but I think for the Barrio Market, we're envisioning something like Armature Works where there's restaurants and small bars. And so I was trying to ask LaShawn what the zoning use would be. Like the AB use would be large venue, but the zoning use, I'm confident it wouldn't be bar lounge. But I was trying to figure out what is that use. That's like a place of assembly, but with restaurants and retail. So that's what I think that we were trying to figure out.
Which is why it wouldn't be hard to just put never a nightclub on the site plan.
Right. I think we're okay with doing, especially for the Barrio Market specifically. Like, I'm okay with saying that will never be single-use bar lounge for the whole square footage of that.
Okay, then that's fine. So again, I mean, I don't want this to not. We really just want to be, and so for the 28,000, if I could get that as the note of no bar lounge, like overall bar lounge, single use. Thank you, I appreciate that. I like that language. No single use bar lounge, then I am much less concerned. I am still a little concerned about the rooftop. But knowing that amplified noise must stop at 10 p.m., I am more comfortable with that.
Councilman Carlson.
To those points also, in other AB licenses or applications we've limited the hours instead of 1 a.m. or 3 a.m. we've limited them to 10, for example, partly next to some of their housing so that we wouldn't affect the people living there. But if the hours were less, then it also wouldn't become a late night bar. Is there any possibility of anything like that?
I think given the fact that this is district-wide, we really wanted to keep 1 a.m. because we don't want the lights to go out at 10 p.m. I mean, I think that this is supposed to be a district, and we want people to have places to go out to eat after they get off work and, et cetera, if they're working different jobs. And so I think that 10 p.m. to me, I think it's probably a bit too early. I mean, even the restaurants per a regular AB1 can stay open till 1 a.m. on the weekends. So we felt that 1 a.m. was reasonable, but if council has different opinions on that, we're happy to hear them.
Sure. For clarification, I just want to make sure I understood this right. Maybe I didn't. You said that if it is a bar lounge, there's no amplified outdoor music,
Correct.
period.
That is correct.
So any of the, so if it's gonna be a bar and lounge, even if like that rooftop, if it's ever declared a bar and lounge, there'll never
No
be
music.
any outdoor music. So, and even like the Barrio Market, if it's a bar lounge, because that's basically outdoor, they can't have amplified music. But there will never be amplified music in an outdoor area, correct? And if a bar lounge,
Correct,
designated bar
yes,
lounge.
yes, if it's a bar lounge, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
if it's designated, so if for some, we won't end up in that situation like they have, like we're talking about the problematic bar at Armature, because it's outside, that what they've done by restricting outdoor amplification,
Right.
they've minimized that risk, or eliminated that risk.
And that was the intent,
Yeah.
so.
But
Okay. Councilman
Yeah.
Crossan.
Remember the issues we had with the the towers at Channelside? So without naming the place underneath, it was not necessarily sound. Sound was one thing, but it was the sound outside and the things that
Yeah.
people were doing after they were drunk running around outside.
But that was a bar.
But
And they won't be able
But
to do
still,
that
I'm
here.
just saying that
Yeah.
there's concerns about what happens around that and having too much concentration of it. There's the reason why the distance requirements are there is so that you can spread it out a little bit. When there are big concentrations of people drunk leaving a place, especially late at night.
I feel seen.
Yeah, and that is a good point too. I don't know that this was mentioned. I think Leo did mention it briefly, but as part of our monitoring, we'll have security and annual monitoring. So there are some ways for you all in the city to enforce compliance with any kind of issues.
One more from Councilman Crossan.
And I'm not comparing this to anything else, but I remember many years ago at the once great, beautiful building in Miami Beach called the Fontainebleau Hotel. There was a place called Tropicala. And sure, it was a hotel, but they had shows there for about 400 seats, maybe 500 seats in the side of the hotel, inside the hotel. And that place was sold out every single night. And every 3 or 4 months, they changed the show. And they had showgirls, they had bands, they had music. And the one guy is still living here in Tampa, his name is Alex Cora. And he's Maritza's husband that owned the building right there on Cargo Road in Osborne. And he was the sound man for all that show. And he lives in Tampa. And the other one was Gabby Gabrielle, who was the lead singer. And he'll be coming to do something for somebody that I know real well in late October, the first week of November. And what they did there was just, you couldn't get in the place unless you had reservations 6 months in advance. And that's how it was. It was beautiful. There was no music outside. It was all inside. And I'm not saying this will be something like that. It won't. But I'm saying Tampa is ready for something like that. It's some big hotel or something. Because if you don't do it, somebody's going to do tourism that you won't. Just like the convention center. If we don't expand it, we're going to be dead. But this is a zoning matter. But I'm just saying what it is. And so these are things that you have to look at when you sit on this side of the desk or that side of the desk or in the chair. What do we do with success? You cannot stay still. Because if you do, somebody else is going to take success over. Thank you.
I think we're chasing each other. Let's move to public comment first.
No, I have a question.
Okay, well, we've been questioning this to death, so let's leave it at this.
No, I have a, so my question is, for all this square footage, what is the number of spaces, like actual retail, restaurant, whatever, what are the number of individual spaces that you're
Boxes.
looking for? Other than that Barrio Market, which is,
Under 30.
under 30. So do you have a number of bar lounges that you're going to allow?
I don't think we have a certain cap on them because so it's also interesting because the smaller spaces, so if you have less than 250 seats, you cannot pull the special restaurant. So there's limitations on that because that's what we've run into in the past where even if we have a restaurant, maybe somebody's still doing 51% food, but they're too small to qualify. So that's another reason why we've run into this before and we were like, let's just put this all in the same because we think a lot of these boxes are going to be too small to qualify.
Yeah, I'm still really, I'm just really worried about bar lounge.
Sure.
I mean,
Let's hear from the public. and then
okay,
you're
yeah.
done. Okay. Anybody in the public wish to speak to this item?
I do.
Okay, come on. Start with your name, please.
Chris Voidovich, WOJ, TOWICZ. 1508 North 20th Street, local resident, just blocks from this development. Just real quick, I know you guys want to get done by 7. This is going to remind me a lot of Water Street. So you have the opportunity to have restaurants that have outdoor space, which is something we really struggle with in Ybor, and I'd like to see more of them. I'm kind of excited about having it here. And we have the opportunity to have events. If you've been to Water Street at Christmas, they have little pop-up markets and outdoor areas where you can get beverages and buy merchandise and things like that. So I like the flexibility to have a real engaging area for the community to participate in. And the fact that bar and lounge cannot have outdoor amplified music means I'm not even concerned about that patio ever getting loud. So the outdoor upstairs patio area. So anyway, I'm really excited about this, and I hope you do approve it because I want them to have the flexibility. I think it's highly unlikely that you're going to get 15 bars lined up in a row there. They can't keep enough people in the bars in 7th Avenue as it is anyway. So I just think economy is going to drive a variety in these spaces just naturally. So that's my thought. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else in the public who wishes to speak to this item? Come on up. Start with your name, please.
Hi, good evening, Council. Christian Leon, 2010 East Palm Ave. I understand the concerns. Charlie, I love that you brought up the Tropicana. My parents used to take me all the time. That was like a thing growing up, so that was a good memory for me too. Councilwoman Hurtek, I totally understand your concerns. But what I want to take advantage of the moment to speak on behalf of the thousands of people who want to find a place to enjoy and to be able to go out in Tampa and have nights out. And I think that we have to think not only about the residents, I get it, and I understand that there is one perspective of a type of resident that you're concerned about. I grew up in Carrollwood. There are people that live in Carrollwood. I love Carrollwood so much, that's my place. However, I think it would be a huge disservice to the city of Tampa to make every neighborhood like Carrollwood, and Ybor should not be like Carrollwood. I think that we have to think differently, and I think that we have to take advantage of the opportunity that we have this beautiful development that's going on, which brings a lot to the table. Like, we need more pedestrian walkways, right? It's a great place to go. You're free of cars. You don't have to worry about anything. You can flow freely. I think for years we didn't have rooftop bars in Tampa, which I never understood, because after being in Boston for 10 years, and then coming back here and living through winters, like November would come around, I'm like, why can't we sit around anywhere? And I would go to like Red Mesa and St. Pete to be in the little terrace, to be able to sit outside and have a nice meal. And we couldn't do that in Tampa. For a long time, we couldn't have food trucks in Tampa. And I thought that was weird until finally the culture changed and we were kind of behind the ball on that one. I think on this one, we really have to think about the direction that we want to allow Tampa to go. And I think that there is a need for vibrancy. And I think that vibrancy drives economies and drives cities forward. If you ever think about the cities that are relevant that we talk about are the cities that are vibrant. In the national lexicon, it's been Nashville, it's been Austin, it's been places that are vibrant, and we need space in Tampa that's vibrant. So please take that in consideration. When you do this, I think that we can tweak things if there's concerns later on, but I think to try to clamp everything down would not be the right move moving forward.
Thank you very much. Anybody else in the public wish to speak to this item? Hearing none. Can I get a motion to close? A rebuttal, I'm sorry, rebuttal?
Yeah.
Rebuttal.
I just want to say, Damien and I were talking to the rest of Kettler. We're okay with midnight if that eases some of your concerns, Councilmember Carlson, instead of 1 a.m. If not, then.
I don't know if we have I don't know if there's a consensus on council with the 1 a.m. So,
sure.
I haven't spoke about this issue. Let me speak. And then I'll give you a chance for rebuttal after I speak. I think what we're missing here is this is a planned development by one developer that is developing this area, and all these, for the most part, with a couple of exceptions, all the residents are buying into a known factor. So they know what they're getting into. So you're not going into an existing neighborhood and changing the use of something. This is a brand new neighborhood. This is a place being created for a very specific intent. So there's not going to be any surprises here. It's not like I owned a house in a residential neighborhood and all of a sudden they built a bar next to me. This is very, very different. Again, it's a planned development. I mean, I think we all understand how transformational it is. I mean, and you look at the examples that they brought up, you know, we see the success of Water Street. We see, I can imagine a vibrant neighborhood of having the diversity of, you know, and again, as someone who is controlling a planned development, that is a magic mix. Someone who is the leasing agent of that, finding different pieces of that puzzle to make it all work. I mean, that's part of the magic that they have to do. If they overloaded it with any type of business, it's not going to be successful. They have to create anybody that's in retail has to create a magic mix. And I think that's what you'd look for, again, because this is a planned development of one developer coming in and making this whole thing happen. I think that gives us a lot of, at least it gives me a lot of assurance that this is going to be one of the more successful neighborhoods in the city of Tampa. Anybody else? Councilwoman Hurtak.
It's true that it's a planned development, but if something were to happen to the owners, they could piecemeal sell this off. So you can't just tell me it's a planned development. Like, that's just not the way this works. So again, I'm not worried about current owners. I mean, they've shown that they're going to do good, that they've done good things, but you know, so did Armature Works, and now like literally this is a giant problem we have. So it's not even the music, it's the bass. That's the biggest problem. That's literally, folks can hear it inside their houses. So that's my concern. I'm less concerned as long as we have the no single-use bar lounge for the Barrio Market. I'm also not concerned about midnight. I think 1 a.m. is more appropriate. I still would like to see like no more than 2/3 be bar lounge space. I mean, that would be more appropriate to me because again, it's great now, but the economy tomorrow could tank where, I mean, watch the stocks are going up and down, crazy. We just don't know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And right now, everything is pointing to an economic downturn. Mm-hmm. And as that economic downturn happens, you're just going to want to fill those spaces. And that's the concern. So, yeah.
Okay, rebuttal?
Sure. This is a great discussion, and I know that this is different, and we don't see too many large-scale wet zonings, and so I will keep it very brief, but, you know, Councilman Clendenin, I think you hit the nail on the head, in that, you know, if we are resistant to large-scale wet zonings, knowing that they carry a very measurable risk, then we don't end up with developments like Midtown, and we don't end up with developments like Armature Works, even though, you know, they come with their own set of issues, and there's always going to be complaints tied to them. But then as a city, we're forfeiting places like Water Street and all of these districts that people love. And again, I understand that there's risk in this, and of course we can't predict the future, but you know, I don't want something that is so signature in these developers who have done such a great job with transforming this district to, you know, unfortunately be, you know, like minimized based on some future risk that we don't have the ability to predict. So that's all I have. If you know, there are any other questions, just let me know. Damien, do you have anything further? Good? Okay, I think we're good.
We have a motion to close from Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Viera. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Councilman Miranda, would you like to read this?
Special use permit SU2 for alcohol beverage sales, large venue consumption on premise, package sales, off-premise consumption, and make it lawful the sale of beverages regardless of alcohol content, beer, wine, and liquor at a certain lot, plot, or tract of land located at 1301 East 4th Avenue, 1306 East 4th Avenue, 1302 East 2nd Avenue, 1315 East 5th Avenue, Tampa, Florida, more particularly described in Section 2, providing that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict are repealed, providing an effective date, along with the revision sheet.
I have a motion.
And including the no single-use bar lounge for the Barrio Market, but that wasn't on the revision sheet.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was.
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry, say it again.
So it's the no single-use bar lounge for the Barrio Market, 28,000 square feet.
As as mentioned by my colleague.
Perfect. We have a motion from Councilman Miranda, a second from Councilman Viera. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Second reading and adoption will be held on July 16th, 2026 at 10 a.m. at Old City Hall, located at 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, 3rd floor, Tampa, Florida, 33602.
Thank you. Last item of business, item number 9. You have 11 minutes.
LaShawn Dock Development Coordination. Thank you, Council. Item number 9, our last item on the agenda is REZ 2628. And I'd like to show you the map. Normally, I would list out the properties, the property addresses included in the rezoning request, but this is a large-scale development. It consists of 55 parcels, and it contains over 30 acres. So I just wanted to orient you and show you on this map the area contained within the project boundary. So the properties that are shaded in red are included in this rezoning request. So just to orient you, 19th Street is the western boundary. This is Palm Avenue. Further north, you have I-4. You have 22nd Street running north-south here. East 6th Avenue is the southern boundary as you approach the eastern boundary of the project area. And then East 9th Avenue is here, and that's the northeastern, the boundary to the north for the northeastern boundary of the property area. So the request is to, I'll leave that up a second, the request is to rezone the property from YC1, which is Central Commercial Core, YC2, Residential, YC4, Mixed Use Redevelopment, YC5, General Commercial, YC6, Community Commercial, YC7, Mixed Use, YC8, Residential, and IG Industrial General, to YC9, Site Plan Controlled, and PDA Plan Development Alternative. This is for a mixed-use development. This would include commercial intensive uses and all residential types. So with that, I'll turn it over to Emily to give her report, and I'll come back and give my report. Thank you.
Emily Phelan, Planning Commission staff. The site is within the Central Tampa Planning District. Parts of it are within the, the local historic district and the urban village. It's within the historic Ybor and Gary neighborhoods. Portions of it are within the coastal high hazard area, and the site is within evacuation zones A, B, C, D, and E. This is an aerial of the subject site that LaShawn just had up. It includes all of these parcels in purple. The surrounding area is just a mix of uses with single family and multifamily to the north, and commercial and office and light industrial uses to the south as you go towards Adamo. It has transitioned from light industrial to urban mixed-use development pattern within recent years. This is the adopted future land use map. The subject site is within 6 future land use designations: the residential 20, the residential 50, the community commercial 35, which is all of the red, the community mixed use 35, which is the pink, the urban mixed use 60, and part of it is in light industrial. These designations allow for a variety of uses, densities, and intensities. This request would permit a master plan development, mixed use project within just up to 3 million square feet of residential development and all housing types and commercial intensive uses. Due to the site having all of those multiple FLU designations, the applicant is utilizing Land Use Policy 5.1.6 to blend the FAR and permitted uses across the entire site, which results in a 2.3 FAR consistent with the underlying future land use designations. The comprehensive plan directs the greatest share of growth to urban villages and areas served by transit, and the site is well served by transit, including Heart Routes 5 and 9 and the Tico streetcar. The majority of the site is within an urban village, which supports increased housing supply and infill development on vacant and or underutilized land. The portions of the site within the CMU 35, the CC 35, and the UMU 60 designations are within a mixed-use corridor and subject to the mixed-use centers and corridor policies. The design guidebook demonstrates consistency with these policies through design principles and the sub-area framework. The request supports the city's compact urban form strategy by providing transit-supportive densities and a mix of uses in proximity to employment and transit. The design book reinforces urban design objectives through building placement, pedestrian network, and an active ground floor. The development is organized into 4 sub-areas, which responds to specific context and policy guidance. Overall, the proposed PDA is consistent with the comprehensive plan's direction related to mixed-use centers and corridors, housing, compatibility, urban form, and design. Throughout the site plan review process, staff encourages the continued implementation of the design guidebook to ensure consistency with the comprehensive plan. That concludes my presentation. If you have any
Any
questions.
questions? Hearing none. LaShawn?
Thank you again, Council. LaShawn Dock, Development Coordination. And I'm going to put the aerial map back up just to show you again the area under this request, under this rezoning. And also just to talk about the surrounding zonings that exist surrounding the property boundary. You can see that the majority of the parcels are within the YC Special District. And you can see the mixture of the YC designations that exist. The YC1 along 22nd Street, you have more of your commercial core with the YC5 and YC6 designations. As you head further east, this dotted line is that boundary for the Ybor City District. Then you enter into your industrial zones. North of 6th Avenue, you have Industrial General, the IG zoning that exists, and then south of 6th Avenue, you have the IH Industrial Heavy Zone. That area has historically been industrial, and those uses are consistent with the underlying zoning. And I would like to just take a second just to explain the PDA. We don't receive the PDA rezoning requests too often, but the PDA is a plan development alternative. You can do a plan development alternative if you have at least 20 acres of land or more. It anticipates phased development. And so mostly what comes before this council are PD rezonings, and you receive a site plan. It has the specific data regarding the property. You can see the building placement, parking placement, curb cuts, all of that detail on the PD site plan. On a PDA, it's a little different. You're provided an overall boundary, and there's a set of entitlements that are allowed within that boundary of that PDA. And as each phase is developed, the applicant or the developer must submit for incremental review. So you'll see within the staff report and also references to incremental review prior to permitting. So they must submit, that is an administrative review. That incremental site plan is compared to the overall entitlements granted in the PDA. And so at each phase of development for that incremental review, a drawdown must be submitted to show the entitlements that are being requested in that particular phase and what entitlements are remaining for the specific categories. So that is the PDA, and so what you see before you, what was submitted as a part of the site plan is something that looks like this. This shows the overall project boundary, and what has been done here is you can see the blocks that are labeled, and each block is identified with a letter, starting with the AA blocks on the west and transitioning over to block I to the eastern boundary. And so the data table that is a part of the site plan and the design book, they all reference a block, and this is the block that is associated with it, with that reference. But the residential types, there's a cap at 2,279 units. For office, there's 339,300 square feet. Commercial retail sales, there's 283,400 square feet. And hotel is proposed at 149 rooms. I just wanted to show you the entitlements chart. So this determines, this is the overall set of entitlements for the development. As an incremental plan is submitted, a chart similar to this is submitted along with it, and it shows the drawdown, whether it's 20,000 square feet of office from the 339,300 square feet. One thing that's important to note is within the PDA boundary, trade-offs are allowed. in these entitlements. So the uses that are allowed within the development can trade off between the blocks, as long as it does not exceed the maximums that are listed within the entitlements chart. Also, although CI uses are allowed, there are certain CI uses that are prohibited with this request, and among them are cemetery, adult use, appliance and equipment repair, crematorium, dry cleaning plant, large and small, vermin control and related services. Those are prohibited uses, although the CI uses are allowed within a development. And the request also includes an associated design guidelines book. That book provides the details. This is regarding signage, parking, public realm, open space. All of those provide that framework for the development. And that's also been provided to you as a part of the site plan package. I have pictures of the site. I'm not gonna show 55 pictures, Chairman.
Thank you.
As a matter of fact,
I'm
I'll
very-
reduce it from this.
I'm very grateful.
So I would like to say, I'm just gonna show a couple of the boundaries. So this is the western boundary. As you know, some of the sites are occupied, some of the parcels within the project area, they are occupied, and then others are vacant, but that's starting with the west boundary. This is on 19th Street, also that western boundary. And just to relate it, these are the block numbers also provided. That's looking west, that's block C4, heading towards the central portion of the project area. And that's looking west at block C5. This is on 7th Avenue, and that's looking east. This is looking west on 7th. We're near the center of the project area. This is the north boundary of the project area, almost to the northeast of block G4. And this is another view. I just tried to capture more than one parcel in the view. And then the last, I just went to the east, towards the eastern boundary. This is the industrial area in blocks H, G, and G. And there are 2 waivers with the request. The first waiver is section 27284.2.5. That's the request to remove 5 non-hazardous grand trees. And that will be shown on the 2 reasonable reconfigurations, and those will be due at the time of incremental site plan review and prior to permitting. The next waiver is to section 27284.4.1, and this is to reduce the minimum required tree retention percentage for a non-residential, non-wooded lot from 50% to 0%. And so with that, this DRC staff finds the request consistent. There are site plan modifications to be made. There's also a supplemental revision sheet which has been provided to you. Also, this property, given that parts of the property are in the YC district, it requires BLC review. At the time of the staff report, the BLC hearing had not been held where we had the recommendation from the BLC, and that occurred this week, so I have provided a copy of the BLC recommendation. And that supplemental revision sheet includes the changes and the conditions recommended from the BLC. The applicant has agreed to make those changes. And also, I'd just like to let you know that we have Heather Bonds here. She is with Historic Preservation. Would you like to speak on the BLC finding? And she will speak on the BLC recommendation, but I'm available if you have any questions on the rezoning.
Do you have questions on the rezoning, Councilman Walker?
I actually have questions about the revision sheet, so she's perfect.
Okay.
Come on up. Thank you. Start with your name, please.
Heather Bonds, Historic Preservation Staff. Thank you.
Scooch it up just a little bit. A little bit more, a little bit more. There you go. Perfect.
All right.
Wow, that is loud. You are out of order. Go ahead.
All right. This came before the BLC this past Tuesday, June 23rd. The BLC motion to recommend City Council approve this rezoning. They put several conditions as part of their review. I wanted to mention that the BLC does have the authorized power to review rezonings, and their recommendation is to the extent necessary to preserve the historical integrity and the appearance of the historic district. And with that intent in mind, they had 13 conditions. Sorry. They had 13 conditions. I can read them and explain them if you'd prefer.
We have them in
Or
front
you
of
have
us.
them? Okay. I'm happy to answer any clarifications that you may have on any of those conditions.
Councilwoman Hurtak.
So there are 13 conditions, but there are only 10 revisions. So I don't see, for example, the maximum permitted building height on block B8 shall be reduced from the current height limit of 60 feet to 45 feet. So where is that in the revision sheet?
Yes, I can assist with that.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. LaShawn Dock, Development Coordination. I would like to mention that this case was before the BLC on April 28th and May 5th. At that time, a favorable recommendation was provided. But then it was determined that the application was improperly noticed. So the applicant actually took the feedback from that, incorporated it into the final site plan that you have before you. So the site plan that is submitted of record actually incorporates some of those changes already.
Okay.
So what I did was I left what remained. So I
Okay.
should have explained that.
No, I appreciate it because I was like, hold on, because it
No,
looked
they've done-
mostly the
They were
same. but-
proactive, they had it done.
Thank you. I really appreciate it because I know that was important to the community, the feel that it connected. So I appreciate that. That's my only question.
I want to thank the BLC on this. I think you guys did extraordinary work, and you really brought a project up and really made it tremendously better, and I think that you guys did great work. So really express our gratitude to the BLC.
There was a lot of collaborative work with the applicants. Thank you.
Councilwoman Hurtak.
I did have one more question about this, and because it's a PDA and because it's in the historic district, when these changes come forward to staff, do they still need to go to the BLC for some of these approvals?
Absolutely, for all new construction.
But I wanted it to be on the record. That's why I asked the question. So, but thank you very much because I think that provides again a level of safety to the neighborhood to make sure that as this goes forward, it's not just one giant thing and they can build whatever. They still have to come to the barrio for the pieces within that district. So that is why I asked the question.
No, I got it. Thank you very much. Applicant? We're already past my 7:06. Let's try to make 7:15.
You guys are getting a break from me. You're getting Avi.
Council members, I'm going to start before she pulls this up. I'm going to try to keep these remarks fairly brief. We did have about 6 hours of hearings in front of the BLC,
Start
so I'm
naming.
going to try to
Start your name.
try to keep this short. My name is Avi Friedman Shaw with the applicant, Casa Ybor. As Alex mentioned, as LaShawn and Heather mentioned, we're asking to rezone approximately 30 acres primarily within East Ybor. That is primarily consists of the sheriff's office, which is today in Ybor about 8.5 acres, as well as some vacant, underutilized and industrial land, mostly along 7th Avenue going east from 22nd Street to about the Crosstown Connector, the elevated highway. And we're asking to rezone to PDA. I want to thank the city staff. I want to thank the Historic Preservation Department as well as the BLC for the countless hours that they spent with us as the applicant to help fine tune this plan. All right, are we presenting on the screen
Technical
yet?
difficulties. Okay, there you go. Should be good to go. Just
Okay,
use it down there.
excellent.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank
Can we
you.
get this on the public monitors as well, please?
So on the public monitors?
There we go.
Okay,
We're good.
excellent, thank you. All right, so why are we coming before the council for a PDA versus just doing individual lot by lot zoning in Ybor, which is already pretty permissive? There's really just a few reasons. You know, East Ybor specifically has not seen a lot of development in the past 40 years since the YC zonings were put into place. A lot of it is vacant or underutilized. There's a lot of surface parking lots. Most of the sheriff's office is totally inaccessible to the public. 20th Street is closed off. 9th Avenue was severed about 50 years ago. A PDA lets us do a few things. One is reconstruct the street grid. Two is require 10% open space and public amenities. Councilman Hurtak, as you mentioned, for an earlier agenda item, that runs with the land, so even if we don't own all this in the future, it is a required component of this PDA to provide that public open space. One of the most important reasons is to centralize parking. Today, one of the biggest challenges in Ybor and developing is where do you put all the parking? It's in urban, tight lots. You know, everything is developed lot line to lot line. Being able to take those parking from individual lots and put them in a centralized place allows that ground floor to be occupied by people and not by cars, by businesses. I'm just going to pause here really quickly. This is an image of 23rd Street and 7th Avenue looking west. One thing you'll notice is very wide sidewalks with street trees, furniture panels, and a continuation of that same 7th Avenue cadence you get elsewhere farther west. We had 3 key design principles. This is a conceptual rendering of what this would look like. Again, every single building is going to come back to the BLC for certificate appropriateness before it can get a building permit. That's every single building within the historic district. We really thought about contextual sensitivity. It's intended to mirror the existing cadence of Ybor, urban continuity. We're reopening the street grid, especially at 9th Avenue, which is closed. And then finally, we're prioritizing walkability in the pedestrian ground plane. As LaShawn mentioned, we divided this up into a few different sub-areas. You have the transit-oriented area next to this Tico streetcar, the 7th Avenue Overlay District, which has more stringent regulations related to heights and setbacks because it's on 7th Avenue. That color in mauve, blocks C7, D7, G4, B8, and others, that's intended to have more moderate scale next to the neighborhoods. And finally, in blue, you have the non-historic sub-area, which is outside of the historic district. That's intended to provide a nice buffer from that elevated highway, which you can kind of see from most places in Ybor. The historic context, we have about 22 contributing structures within this PDA. Those will all be preserved. Any requests we would make to change those, that's all coming before the BLC. You know, that's not something we can do by right. We have specific block-by-block height limits for each of these individual blocks, again, which was approved by the BLC. I know that sometimes with PDAs, there's administrative height increase allowed. We're going ahead and barring that. That's not the intention. There's nothing deceptive being done here. The building heights and setbacks, again, we spent a lot of time on this with the BLC, but in short, today in Ybor, you can build from 35 feet up to 60 feet. 60 feet is YC6 zoning, and that's permitted in the southern portions of Ybor. We're keeping within that same envelope here. There's nothing that's going to be above that 60-foot height limit that you already see elsewhere in Ybor. Anything that reaches that 60-foot height limit, as you'll see from the diagram here, that top story is going to be set back from the street, which preserves that street wall and limits any of that visibility from the street. Parking, this is one of the biggest reasons we're doing this PDA. It's so you can park things centrally and not on individual blocks. I'm going to actually go back right here. This side, I'm going to point out 4 specific blocks, B3, B4, B8, and then D6. So it's kind of in the center. B3, B4, and B8 are in between 21st and 22nd. 2 things you'll notice about those streets. They're one-way streets going north and south. Those are the exit ramps from the Selman to the south and the I-4 to the north. So the idea is to put centralized parking there to catch cars before they spread out into the neighborhood. You'll always have some need for ground floor parking in some of these buildings, folks with mobility challenges, folks pushing strollers. It's nice to be able to offer them parking right next to the elevator of their building, whether they're residents or employees. But we think that most people should be able to park in centralized garages and walk 1 or 2 blocks to wherever they need to go. D6 was the item you heard earlier about the vacating of that alley. That's really the perfect place to put parking because it's central to this PDA. It can park 6 other blocks around it. And 2, that parking garage backs up to the CSX tracks. To the south side of those CSX tracks, there's no historic casitas, there's no home, there's no one looking through the windows seeing the backside of the parking garage. You can put the parking garage all the way to the back next to the CSX tracks, and on the north side on 7th Avenue, you have nice deep retail that's not affected by that parking garage. So that's why we asked for that vacating just on that one specific block. The public realm, this is really one of the other key reasons we're doing the PDA. This is, by the way, this is 26th Street and 7th Avenue. Right now, today on 7th Avenue, I actually have a photo of it. The bottom left, the bottom right picture, this is that same location. There's basically nothing there. There's a small pillar and a plaque that lets you know you go into the historic district. We'd like to have a grander entrance to the historic district. On the other side of 7th Avenue, you have a nice big gate and overhang. We'd like to have some twin parks here. But in short, we'd like to do a few things with the public realm. 1 is just restore the street grid and public sidewalks. 2 is add about 3 acres of public open space. We're requiring about 3 acres, 130,000 square feet across the PDA area, and just extend the walkable district eastward. Today, most visitors to the neighborhood think that the historic district ends at the Columbia restaurant. doesn't. It ends about 3 blocks eastward. We'd like to continue that cadence. The streetscape improvements, we're proposing about 1.5 miles of new streetscape improvements within the historic district. 75% of the new street trees, other than on 7th Avenue, which will be palms to reflect that historic cadence, will be shade-producing type 1 trees. This was really important to us. When I walk down 7th Avenue for lunch, I have to cross the street to the south side because my face is getting blasted by the sun. So it would be nice to have some street trees producing an urban canopy and shade rather than just palms. We'll keep the palms on 7th Avenue. Parks and open space, I already mentioned this. There's a couple key spaces we've already staked out for potential parks on 8th Avenue, as well as those twin parks towards the end of 7th Avenue. And finally, this 9th Avenue Paseo, you see on the bottom left-hand corner, this is where the sheriff's office currently is. They take up a super block. We're going to go ahead and reopen that and create a wide pedestrian space. With retail shops, it'll be primarily pedestrian, but it'll allow for ground floor outdoor dining and things of that nature. So that's the high level of this plan. I'm happy to answer any other questions the council members have, go into more detail, allow for public comment, whatever you guys recommend.
We'll do Q&A right now. Councilwoman Hurtak?
I'm
Sure.
really glad you talked about trees, because that's the first thing I wrote. I was like,
Yes.
palm trees. Because, I mean, I understand that 7th Avenue is historic. I get it. But we are in unprecedented times of heat. I really
agree.
do believe that the time for palm trees has passed. And
tend to agree.
I respect the historic. I don't know if it's required for this. No, so it's not required for historic. So I would ask you to reconsider palm trees. And only because we're just getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And we want people to walk down 7th Avenue.
I agree, yeah.
So just take that for what it's worth.
Sure.
Secondarily, on the east side, you end the Selman Connector.
Yes.
The Selman Connector, under that is an absolute just wasted space and gem of what could be. And I really hope that you're working with Thea and FDOT to reimagine that space so that not only does it become more usable, it connects Gary back to Ybor, and which is something that neighborhood has been asking for a long time. So I'm hoping that, and I mentioned it when we did the, I think, comp plan change for where the hospital's going to be.
Yeah.
But I felt the need to reiterate that here because it's so important. And to go back to the palm trees for a second, we spent our entire morning talking about trees, and there was someone from Ybor who specifically came to say, we want more shade trees. So it's a thing. My last thing, of course, is going to be bikes and bike storage parking for both residential and commercial. Preferably protected, secure bike parking. Yes, great, but also for, and that's residential. But what about all the employees?
Sure.
And where can they find secure bike parking that also might possibly, in 1 or 2 central locations, include an area where they might be able to shower and get ready for the day? It's common in other large cities, and it's what I'd like to see our city become as e-bikes become more prevalent and as parking becomes less of a bigger concern. So that's one thing. That's another thing I would like you to try to bring forward.
Sure. Councilwoman Hurtak, totally agree. For any commercial buildings over 20,000 square feet, there is on-site covered bicycle storage required. Any residential buildings more than 15 units, same requirement. We have on-site required bicycle storage. There's other ways we're trying to incentivize car shares, scooters, bicycles. We don't like all the cars. We're trying to centralize that and take that off the table as much as we can.
Awesome, but that's what I would say for office use.
Yeah.
When you're building office space, have 1 or 2. We put 3 in Hannah City Center that are just bathrooms with showers, so people have a chance to clean up after their bike ride into work, and then they can store their stuff in their office. But you gotta be able to clean up.
You gotta make it available to them.
Yes, exactly. And so we're trying with the city, and so I'm trying to incentivize that, especially in office space moving forward. But thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Okay, very good. You complete your presentation? Is anybody in the public who wish to speak to this item? Come on up. Start with your name, please.
Chris Voidovich, WOJTOWICZ, 1508 North 20th Street. I want to start by apologizing to Councilman Clendenin for extending this meeting, and I want to thank Councilwoman Hurtak for her stewardship of the district and taking a very close look at this and asking excellent questions. Thank you. Just real quick, just to give you context, every picture that they showed, the map, my house is visible in that map. I live right in the kind of middle of where all of this is happening. My wife and I built that house 10 years ago. We've invested heavily in being residents of Ybor. We do not own any other properties or businesses in the district. We only just live here. We have one car between us, and we drive 7,000 miles a year. We walk everywhere. I've walked every one of these blocks, and they can all use a few things. One, additional shade trees, thank you very much. We definitely need that. Continuous sidewalks, lots of sidewalks are missing, and a place to go check out. Like right now, there's just nothing there. We're talking about places inaccessible to public, surface parking lots and vacant lots. I'm excited to see something interesting and walkable and fun in the district just to make it a better place to live. So my 3 key points about it: 1, walkability, you just heard about that. 2, density. Ybor used to be a dense community. That means it had grocery stores, it had doctor's offices, it had cleaners, it had all kinds of things that it doesn't have today because it doesn't support the density. And the third and final thing, to make this quick, is balance. Right now, Ybor City is tilted to the west because of the parking garages there and the investments to the west. The only thing in the east is the Columbia, as mentioned. And if you're at the Columbia restaurant and you walk out, you're doing one of 2 things. You're walking to your car or you're turning left. Let's give them a reason to turn right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Start with your name.
Jose Cayon, 2402 East 11th Avenue. Speak back on what Chris was saying, trees, thank you. We definitely need shade trees in Ybor City. I've been a resident of East Ybor for over 10 years. Some of you guys have come to our meetings. I have served in the neighborhood association for about 10 years, was a president of a neighborhood association for 10 years. Right now I serve as a treasurer. We're totally full in support of this new development. I worked really hard to bring alongside my board members and our residents and neighbors to bring East Ybor to the map of the city, work alongside the police to clear the neighborhood of all the nuisances that were mentioned before: prostitution, homeless camps. Honestly, I feel like East Ybor is the safest place to live in the city. I lived in South Tampa for 15 years. I can leave my door unlocked if I wanted to. So this is just something else that residents have been waiting for over 60 years. I think this development is the 3rd most exciting thing that has ever happened in East Ybor. First, the founding of the city. Second, not a good one, urban renewal. And now this. I mean, we live in a neighborhood that still looks like a war zone, lots of empty lots. That's why we have 35 acres ready for development. We have finally a developer that has proven to be sensitive to the historic roots of our neighborhood, a developer that has been working alongside a very strong neighborhood association to fix all the issues that we have. So we have a lot of faith on Daryl and the Casa Ybor team. It does not mean that we are not going to continue to work alongside him and you guys to make sure that we, even though we need some of the amenities that the West Ybor enjoys, we are going to be working alongside this development to make sure that we don't nightclubify just to make, East Ybor. I mean, we would love to have a downtown that is walkable. We're looking forward to it, but we're definitely going to be looking at every single piece of this development and make sure that, with the density, with everything, we achieve our dream of having a real neighborhood. I mean, we love to have people from visitors. We love to have people from Caribou, but residents have to be, keep always in mind when anything is happening in our neighborhood. Thank you so much, and again, encouraged to approve this.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please. Start with your name.
Hi, Christian Leon, 2010 East Palm Ave. Right now I'm speaking on behalf of the Tampa Bay Community Design Center, which is formerly CAD, the Center for Architecture and Design. So from the board, we just wanted to communicate, first of all, the board is made up of people who have had lifelong experience advocating for good community design and for historic preservation and a lot of the things that I know each of you hold dearly and really, especially in this project, you really want to make sure those values are taken into consideration. And before the meetings with the Barrio Latino, with the BLC, there was a lot of conversation back and forth with the developer to make sure that a lot of points were addressed. So it's really refreshing to come tonight and to see the outcome of all of that work. I know that we'd given thanks to the BLC for the work that they've done, and I think they really have been great stewards of the community. And I think that this is something that, as a board, we feel very comfortable with, and we're really hopeful that this moves forward, and we're looking forward to see how this transforms the neighborhood for the good. So
Thank you very much. Very good. Hearing no others, can I get a motion to close? Oh, do you have a rebuttal?
We'll waive the rebuttal. Thanks.
Okay. We have a motion to close from Councilman Viera, second from Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Councilman Carlson, I believe we're with you.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing real fast before we go. We probably approve 98% of the real estate projects we look at, but the few that we don't, the developers always complain and blame city council. And there's a right way and wrong way of engaging with the community. And I just want to point out, the reason why there's no opposition here is not because of the proposal itself. It's because Daryl Shaw and Avi and others have spent months, but even years, meeting with every single person in the community so they deeply understand this. If every developer did that, we could approve 100%. I'd like to make a motion for number 9, file number REZ 26-28, ordinance being presented for first reading consideration, ordinance rezoning a total of 55 parcels, of which 38 parcels are located in the Ybor City Historic District, consisting of plus 30.64 acres located generally in an area bounded to the north by East 11th Avenue, to the east by the Selman Connector, and the CSX right-of-way to the south by East 4th Avenue, and to the west by North 19th Street property in the city of Tampa, Florida, and more particularly described in Section 1 from zoning district classification IG Industrial General, YC1, Central Commercial Core, YC2, Residential, YC4, Mixed Use Development, YC5, General Commercial, YC6, Community Commercial, YC7, Mixed Use, and YC8, Residential, to PDA, Plan Development, Alternative Mixed Use, Commercial Intensive Uses, and Residential All Types, and YC9, Site Plan Control, providing effective date. And the revision sheet.
I have a motion from Councilman Carlson, a second from Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye. 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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Congratulations.
Motion carried unanimous. Second reading and adoption will be held on July 16th, 2026 at 10 a.m. at Old City Hall, located at 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, 3rd floor, Tampa, Florida, 33602.
Okay, thank you very much. Councilwoman Hurtak.
Ms. Doc, I have a quick comment for you on you and your team create such wonderful staff reports. I was just thinking that maybe for the alcohol ones, that we could add a section for just hours of operation, and then a section for amplified noise and hours, just so that as we go in, we can see it, because you always have the square footage and all of that. So
Yes.
just a little
On its own, a
Yeah,
section
so-
with the hours of operations and a section
yeah.
with
So
the.
in the
sound.
beginning, you always have that nice chart, and so maybe just another couple lines on that chart.
Absolutely,
Just
absolutely.
because I think it
Great
would really
idea.
help all of us, like, right away.
Yes.
know, because the site plan can be very hard to read
Agreed,
when we're
agreed.
reading it on the computer. So
And now we embed it in a paragraph
Yeah,
somewhere, so that would
yeah.
be great, absolutely. I
No, it's a
appreciate the
very good
feedback,
idea.
we
Thank
will
Thank
do
you,
it.
Councilwoman Hurtak.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
well, we've worked together on these before, and,
Yes.
and her team does a phenomenal job. You have
Thank
great
you
ideas.
so much,
So
I appreciate it.
Very good. And to the Shaws that are still in the room, congratulations, Mr. and Mr. Shaw. Yeah, very good. Congratulations. Okay, that concludes our regularly scheduled program this evening. We're down to new business. Councilman Carlson.
I want to make a couple quick comments and then throw out an idea. One is a former employee told me recently that as this employee was leaving, HR told them that they were not allowed to contact city council in any way for 2 years. And that, if it's true, that really, I assume it's true because somebody reliable told me this. But if there's a prohibition against lobbying or representing business in front of the city, but it bothers me that if employees are being told they can't contact us in any way. And so I just want to throw that out there. The second one is that I think I can make a motion about this if you guys like it or not, but I think that there should be some kind of immunity given to employees who speak at city council meetings. The mere fact of speaking out at a city council meeting should not cause somebody to get fired. You guys can think about, if you're in favor of it, I can make a motion. If you aren't, I can hold on to it. We can talk about it later. But I don't like it that HR, others there are allegations that people have been fired or threatened to be fired for speaking at city council. And city council can't directly get involved in administrative efforts, but I think employees, just like anybody else, have the right to speak in front of city council. And they should be able to.
Whistleblower protections.
Yeah, but we've been through that with special sessions, and just like the chief of staff said a couple weeks ago, there's no verified evidence of retaliation. We know there's lots of retaliation, and so just because somebody signs a settlement doesn't mean the retaliation didn't happen. So
let me ask you this: was that a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to have staff come back with a draft ordinance or some kind of document for discussion on September 3rd. September 17th, to discuss providing immunity for employees who wish to speak out at public comment.
There's a motion from Councilman Carlson. Is there a second?
May I speak?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm over here mumbling. I'll second this under the guise that it's as a could you see if it's something that's viable. There's already whistleblower protections, all that stuff. But if that's something you want to discuss, I'm fine with that. I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second discussion. Councilman Miranda.
I think everyone, whether you're dismissed or what, has the right to come and speak, whatever it is. However, that individual, whoever he or she may be, might have done something that was totally out of bounds, and maybe they went to court and settled, and I don't know what happened. So I don't want to create a worse problem for the taxpayers than I already have if something happens. I'm not questioning you at all, sir, but I just want to make sure that somewhere along the line we get legal advice on what we can ask and not ask if we know that something happened, that somebody got dismissed for some reason, and then they come here, and then I'm going to make a motion. No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I'll speak to a little bit about, based on my experience, especially in LMR and in the federal sector. As employees, if you union representatives within the federal sector have protection based on the labor laws. So if they're an official representative of folks, but employees themselves, if they come and let's say they were libelous or there's things that you are accountable for what you do. And if they do something, if they undermine there's different standards in the management structure of how employees are managed. And like, let's say that you're in the financial sector of the city, and then you undermine these. If you come and you said something that would undermine our bond ratings or something like that, I mean, you can't have that happen with city employees. They have to be accountable for that kind of thing. Like, they can't just maliciously come in and do something that would without some kind of accountability.
Yeah, my point is simply to say the mere fact of speaking at public comment. What they say after that, that's a different subject. But if they decide to speak at public comment, they shouldn't be threatened to be fired because of that.
Yeah, Mr. Shelby wanted to say something.
Yes. Also, there's the issue of represented employees.
Correct.
Collective bargaining agreements. And the other thing is, the question is whether somebody comes to city council during work hours, whether they're in a uniform or not. I mean, there are a lot of HR things. My suggestion would be, if you feel strongly about it, then certainly, and I would recommend maybe you do it as a written report and see what their response is, and maybe perhaps, if you like, meet with them individually, but get a written report, and then council can assess whether they want to go further with that.
Could you change that to a written report? Would you mind? Okay.
You could. I'm suggesting it, but if you want an in-person report, that's council's discretion.
We could start with the written report. You can go from there.
Okay, change it to a written report.
Okay, we have a motion from Carlson, a second from Councilman Vieira for a written report on September
September
17th. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
The last thing is, I've listened to the majority of the Charter Review Commission meetings, and maybe some of you have as well. I've talked to more than half the Charter Review Commission, many of them your appointees. There are concerns about the way the facilitation is going. It seems to me, we've got like 3 or 4 meetings left. It seems to me that we should just let the chair run everything, and that we don't need a facilitator. But I'm not gonna make a motion on that. I just throw that out there. We can talk about it when we get back. Thank you.
Councilman Vieira.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I just have 3 quick motions, if I may. Yesterday, I had the pleasure of meeting with our friends over at Bay Area Legal Services, and I was reminded on how we had passed, I think it was 2 years ago, a housing grant for Bay Area Legal Services through the city of Tampa for representation on housing-related legal challenges. And that program apparently is still going on. So I wanted to, if I may, do a motion for an in-person report from city staff to update us on the status of this representation program through Bay Area Legal Services. And before that time, they should inquire with Bay Area Legal Services on any challenges that may exist within the program. We can put on the agenda to limit this to 10 minutes for the entire scope of it, including council questions. This shouldn't be a long presentation, 5 minutes from them, 5 minutes from us. That's it, that's my
What is the
motion. September 3rd.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilman Vieira, second from Councilman Maniscalco. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you, council. That this is housekeeping. I motion to remove from July 16th the in-person staff report on the Mike Phillips All Abilities Program, and on August 6th, where there is room, in lieu of the previously scheduled written staff report, instead request that staff come before council and provide an in-person report on the All Abilities Program that day. That was from a request from staff, which I'm glad to accommodate.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilman Vieira, second from Councilman Maniscalco. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Then lastly, and I don't know how council feels about this, with our ATU, is it 1593 or 1464? Which one is it? One's hard, whichever it is. With our ATU, perhaps, would it be proper or appropriate for an administration update to speak about this? Is that?
Again, I don't know what's going on.
I see you
there.
wince.
I wouldn't go there.
Okay, then I shan't. Just throwing it out there. Okay, that's it. Thank you, guys.
Okay, Councilwoman Young.
Okay, so I have a motion. I move to make a motion to provide a accommodation to Jamal Jefferson on August 27, 2026 for
Second.
receiving the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Inspire Changemaker Award for his commitment to giving back to our youth and the next generation.
Is that in person or in council chambers?
Yes, in council chambers, and I
Okay.
did
Yep.
check and move
Yep,
it to August
we
27.
have one presentation and one commendation.
Yeah, and it won't be long, just
With our
yeah.
new rules.
With our new rules,
Very
yes.
good. I have a motion from Councilwoman Young, second from Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, and then I kind of touched on it already, but just for constituents that were wanting to know why we didn't talk about noise today, we moved them because we want to put everything on on one set agenda, and just also I wanted to let community know that I understand your concerns of wanting to get something resolved now. And you have some that are experiencing, these noises a little bit more than others, and so they're wanting to see some action from the council, but wanted to just make sure that everything was put at one time, so we're not, if we can cover everything at one time, then it's better and more efficient. And then I also did express to staff that we do have community members that have been waiting for some time, and so just like to know, yes, I'm okay with pushing this back, but understand that there are people who have been waiting for some time. So I also just wanted to let them know that, just so they know the timeline and that people are waiting. And then also, because you all are going to see me, so I have a couple of things. One, Toba Leadership Institute has their, which I am a graduate of, they have their graduation on Saturday. And so I will be there speaking, and then we're also presenting accommodation to them on the 16th for celebrating 7 cohort classes. So I thought that was very exciting. And then also, Kentucky State University alumni had their conference here, and it is an HBCU, which is a historic Black College University. And when I went to, they had a reception and talking to the organizers, and it was really nice to know that they specifically chose to come to Tampa. They wanted to come to Tampa. And I know that, remember, if there was a time where there was a lot of things that were happening in our area, and there were a lot of, there was letters are put out, like, from, national NAACP, like, don't come to Tampa, because there was a lot of things that was happening here in the area. And they said, you know what? We know that that's happening, but there's still a lot of, Black and brown businesses that we want to support in Tampa, so we want to come anyway. And so they specifically chose to come to Tampa. And so I just thought that was really nice. Just, people are really recognizing Tampa and want to come here. So that's all.
Very good. Thank you, Councilwoman Young.
I forgot, Mr. Chairman, it's not a motion, it's one thing I forgot.
Okay, go ahead.
If I may, thank you. I think, did y'all get the email from my office on Roy Caldwood in that event on the 30th?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to, this guy's turning 104. If y'all ever saw that Spike Lee movie, Miracle at Santa Ana, I think it's called, in the 92nd Regiment of Buffalo Soldiers in Italy. This guy's turning 104, decorated World War II veteran, got the Bronze Star in Italy. He's originally from Harlem, 104 years old, and we're honoring him there for the 4th of July. So he's an awesome guy. So come on down to the People's Republic of New Tampa.
I'm never going to make it to 104.
Why not?
I hope not.
Councilwoman Hurtak.
Absolutely hope not. I mean, bless him. I think it's wonderful, but that is not something I want for myself. First of all, I really just, I want to say, I sent this out to News for Neighborhoods, the newsletter that I send out, but I wanted to make sure people know that watering restrictions are still around. There is a way that you can actually contact the water department if you see people watering at noon, because I wanted to know. I've seen, it's crazy. Do not water after 6 a.m. That's 4 a.m. I'm sorry. The new rules are you cannot water after 4 a.m. and you cannot water until 8 p.m. So make sure you're watering on your day. If you don't know what your day is, go to the water website and you should be able to find that. But please, we haven't had to buy any water yet, but we're very close to it, and that means your water bills will have to go up. So my motion today is, I worked with staff on this, and this is the Social Action Art Fund grant motion. So I have a motion requesting staff, in coordination with the City Council budget analyst, to meet individually with each council member to discuss possible improvements to Social Action and Arts Fund program, to include how to align the funding with City of Tampa goals or identified areas of need, how to focus on community outcomes and measurable goals, and lastly, to include a program that teaches how to seek outside grants and transition from the Social Action Art Funds to other funding sources. Further, I request staff to compile the feedback and return to City Council on August 6, 2026, under staff reports with a summary and preliminary list of 3 to 5 identified areas of need, unmet goals, or impact areas. So the reason I did this motion is because I met with Janelle, and we are still trying to figure out what to do. And so one of the ideas was, if we're just going to hope that we can find $1.5 million this year. And if we do that, if we choose an area that the administration says is an area of need, unmet goals, and impact, say, teen events, because right now we've got the whole teen takeover thing going on, but we've done a really good job with providing activities, but maybe that's our focus. So the $500,000 goes toward that, and then the 2/3 left over goes toward other areas right now, and then next year it's that $500,000 to teens and $500,000 to something new, and then slowly over time those teen organizations would have 3 years of funding, but during that time get grant help to learn how to seek outside funding sources, so that by the time their 3 years is up, they can move on and find what they need.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilwoman Hurtak, a second from Councilman Maniscalco. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Next.
That's it.
Hey, yay. Councilman Maniscalco?
Yes, I would like to wish my wife a happy birthday. It's tomorrow. As you know, she is the perfect woman, and I just wanted to acknowledge that and wish her a happy early birthday. That's it. Thank you.
Councilman Miranda?
Well, sir, I'm going to talk about water like Ms. Hurtak did, Lady Hurtak, and we have increased our water demand from 80.3 million gallons a day to 82.8 million gallons a day, or 2.5 million gallons a day more. We cannot sustain that because we have no water raining on a constant basis every day, and we're going to have a problem if we continue using more water than we have every day in the last 4 or 5 weeks. So it's something that we have to learn to live with. I know it's difficult, but you don't have to take an hour shower. 10 minutes will be enough. If you use soap. If you use soap.
Thank you, Councilman Miranda.
That's it,
Okay.
sir.
Councilwoman Hurtak?
Yes, Chair Clendenin.
First, I believe that we have someone that is going to have a birthday coming up.
Yeah.
When is your birthday, Councilwoman Hurtak?
July 1st, center of the year.
So we will be on break during Councilwoman Hurtak, so I will say happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Councilwoman Hurtak. Happy birthday to you. I hope you don't live to be 104.
Me either. That's a great wish.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I have one motion. I had an email from Emily, the Planning Commission. A motion to request the Planning Commission set an adoption hearing for TACPA 2603 on September 24th, 2026 at 5:01 p.m. and direct the legal department to provide the city clerk with a form of notice for advertising the public hearing. Just FYI, this is the HC property.
Okay, so I have a motion from Chair Clendenin. I have a second from, okay, so I have a second from Councilman Vieira. Okay, so, yeah, this is a tricky one. We'll see what happens here. Do I need to do a roll call vote for this?
Let me ask a question. When do we hear back from the state? When is it?
We're pending the state. This is because the schedules are full. This is an AB, trying to get something on, reserving a spot for it, basically.
But there's no guarantee that this is even heard at that time.
I'm working with Emily, LaShawn, everybody else. That was the meeting we had prior to the meeting, that they felt like this was an appropriate date.
Is this typically done like this? Because it's so busy or full, or what's the reason?
I mean, every one of our calendar dates are full.
Okay.
That's the issue.
Okay. So do we want to have a roll call vote for this? Yeah, let's roll call this. So I'm sorry, I have a motion from Chair.
Remember, this is just to set the hearing. This is
I
not an
understand
approval of
that,
anything.
but I still feel like we're gonna need that. And then a second from Councilman Vieira.
But again, this is just setting, this is not a decision point. This is just setting a hearing.
And before that,
Okay, Council.
there's another thing
No,
that happened.
put your mic on.
I'm one of them guys that read, for whatever reason, I get attached to the news in the paper. But more than that, I look at every one ad in the paper for whatever reason, since I was about 10 years old, and I read them all. And about a week and a half ago, I was reading one regarding the water permit that they wanted applied at Swift Mud on March or February of 25. I forget what date it was. It's toward the end of the month, for applying for Swift Mud to give permission for a pre-construction operation, I guess, at the plant, at what we're discussing now. But I'm not going to mention any names.
Okay. Anyone else? Do we need to do a roll call? Is anyone concerned about putting this on the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, well, there you go.
And that's it. I want to wish everybody a happy vacation. Remind the public that we will not be back until July 16th, 2026. Happy 250th birthday to the United States of America. Let's hope we live to see 251. And Mr. Shelby?
I was going to say, in case nobody did, I wanted to make sure that I just wanted to remind the public that if they show up for the next 2 Thursdays,
We
You won't be here. And
Enjoy
again-
your time in City Hall without us.
And again, by the way, it took me a while, but I just
Motion to
want
receive
to
and file,
know,
Senator.
I just want you to.
I have a motion to receive and file for Councilwoman Hurtak, second from Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Yes, sir.
Happy semi-quincentennial.
There you go. There you go. Very good. Okay, we are adjourned.